3 days before the engagement party, your childhood sweetheart and fiancé completely ignored your protests. She was dead set on flying to Shanghai to play hero for her guy best friend, who pulled a dramatic stunt by doing something extreme to himself, by hurt himself. But the ultimate plot twist she didn't see coming was, by the time she waltzed back 3 days later, her fiancé had already jumped ship. At that exact moment, Lucy Lancaster was chilling in a VIP hospital ward in Shanghai. She practically ordered her assistant to spam your phone. Only a lonely busy signal echoed in the empty hallway. The call automatically dropped after the classic "the number you have dialed is busy" message. She frowned, visibly annoyed. Assistant Lily could see it clear as day. A faint grayish-blue exhaustion lingered in Lucy's eyes. From the moment Ethan got into trouble until now, they hadn't rested for a single second. Even Assistant Lily, who was basically married to overtime, felt her eyelids drying out like the Sahara. Her mind was spinning, not to mention CEO Lucy's. Assistant Lily hesitantly offered some comfort. "Why don't you go get some rest? I'll keep trying to contact Mr. Mason. He has a good temper anyway. When we get back, CEO Lucy, you can pick out a nice gift and that should smooth things over." "No," Lucy snapped, glancing at her phone. "Aside from random push notifications, there were 0 texts or calls from you. Your last call was right before she boarded her flight. You two had previously agreed to go pick out an engagement dress together that day. You had been hyping it up since the night before. The boutique even sent her the outfit she was supposed to wear. To ask for her opinion, you called her right as she was about to board the plane. But her mind was totally consumed by Ethan, so she straight up ignored the call. And then, crickets, not a peep from you since. This was a first. It had been way too long since you last contacted her. You were supposed to be jealous. You were supposed to be whining about her ditching you. Did you miss the engagement party you'd been looking forward to for ages?" She figured she needed to explain why your childhood friend, Chloe, acted the way she did yesterday, or the humiliation at the Miller family's house. But there was absolutely nothing. Lucy suddenly felt an inexplicable wave of panic. Her fingertips hovered hesitantly over your contact name for a long time. She debated whether or not to press the call button, finally realizing she was starting to regret her choices. But Ethan had saved her life. She couldn't just stand by and do nothing. After all, a human life was on the line. Surely you'd understand, right? This dynamic had been going on for years. You never really fought with Ethan over anything anyway, right? Lucy was practically zoning out. Assistant Lily scrolled through the notes on her phone. "The main estate says Madame Lancaster wants to go on a trip abroad, taking the whole family, so they probably won't be attending the engagement party." Assistant Lily's voice trailed off into a whisper. Lucy's face instantly darkened to a terrifying shade. Assistant Lily stealthily observed her expression. Her voice was as quiet as a buzzing mosquito. When she mentioned the call came from the old butler. He didn't say it outright, but the old butler was the trusted confidant and mouthpiece of the Lancaster family's patriarch. Since he was the one who called, it basically meant Grandpa Lancaster had greenlit this snub. At the end of the day, Lucy was just an illegitimate daughter. Over the years, with the backing of the Miller family, your family, Lucy had managed to secure her position against the other Lancaster heirs. Her becoming the successful heir of the Lancaster family almost made Madame Lancaster grind her teeth to dust. A trip abroad, please? That was just a thinly veiled excuse to humiliate the Miller family. They just wanted to sow discord between Lucy and you. Assistant Lily let out a heavy sigh. On the day of the engagement, the bride's family refusing to show up? You probably couldn't find a more insulting scenario in all of Beijing. Lucy stayed silent for a long time before a cold voice echoed from behind her. "Change the flight. I'll do whatever it takes to get back on the day of the engagement." Meanwhile, back in Beijing, the impromptu marriage partner you had found, Sophia Smith, had just returned to her family's main estate. Grandpa Smith was chilling out in the pavilion in the middle of the lake. Grandma Smith was lounging on a long chair, reading a book. Hearing footsteps, she put down the antique magnifying glass she was holding. She looked up, recognized Sophia, and then peeked behind her. Her silver hair shimmered in the sunlight as she noticed Assistant Xavier wasn't there. Sophia gave her a knowing glance. In recent years, rumors about Sophia having a special preference for women had spread like wildfire. Even the Smith family had tacitly accepted it. Among them, Grandma Smith, an avid novel reader, had basically designated Assistant Xavier as her future granddaughter-in-law. The scorching heat was awful, but Grandpa Smith just relaxed and continued reading. "Who are you doing this for? If your Assistant Xavier decides she doesn't want to work with you someday, what then? You'll be crying," he quipped. Sophia glanced over. The handwritten title of Grandma Smith's book was particularly eye-catching, The Secretary's Path Against Oppression. Having such a trendy grandma gave Sophia an inevitable headache. "Grandma, she's literally just my assistant, and she has a boyfriend." Maybe read fewer of those trashy novels. When Grandma Smith heard that even Assistant Xavier had a boyfriend, she was absolutely devastated. She looked like the sky had fallen. "Assistant Xavier spends all day with you and she still managed to get a boyfriend. When are you going to bring a partner home for me? Even if it's a woman, the Smith family is ready to accept it. No need to look for a partner. I skipped the dating phase and went straight to getting engaged." Sophia dropped the bomb. "I only came back today to give the family a heads up." Grandpa Smith leaped off his lounger so fast he didn't even notice his book hitting the floor. Engage? To who? Can you even get a marriage certificate for that in China right now? If not Assistant Xavier, could it be Penny? Penny is the only heir of the prestigious Pei family in Beijing. They guard her like the apple of their eye. Would they really let her marry into the Smith family? Grandpa Smith was sweating bullets, while Sophia fought the urge to facepalm. It's a guy, the youngest son of the Miller family, Mason. We're getting engaged in 3 days. When Grandma Smith heard it was a man, her first instinct was to pinch Sophia to see if she was dreaming. Does it hurt? Grandpa Smith calmly stood up. It's not a dream. There hasn't even been a male mosquito hovering around our granddaughter, and suddenly a giant grandson-in-law drops from the sky. I actually have a grandson-in-law. When exactly are we doing this? Isn't 3 days a bit rushed? Should we push it back? The dowry hasn't even been properly prepared. Thinking about the dowry, Grandma Smith suddenly felt a massive sense of urgency. No, I need to go to the warehouse and check it myself. I finally got a grandson-in-law. We absolutely cannot neglect them. Sophia watched her grandma sprint out of the pavilion like she was running a marathon. In less than half a day, literally everyone in the Smith family knew Sophia was getting engaged. The usually hyper-busy Smith executives dropped everything. The family members packed into the main living room. It was a bigger turnout than the Lunar New Year. Uncle Smith stroked his chin. The Miller family? In 3 days? Is he the son of the real estate tycoon, Mr. Miller? Sophia's fourth uncle happened to be in charge of the real estate business, so it wasn't surprising they guessed your identity so quickly. Sophia nodded, and Uncle Smith gasped. Wait, isn't the Miller family's arranged marriage with the Lancaster family's girl? Did you just steal her fiancé? The Smith family isn't scared of the Lancasters, but stealing someone else's fiancé, isn't that a bit unethical? Grandma Smith was busy reviewing this gift list, but her ears immediately perked up. She glared daggers at her fourth son. What absolute nonsense. Is our Sophia a bully? She could kidnap a man right off the street and it'd be perfectly fine. Uncle Smith, a terrifyingly powerful figure in the business world, withered under his own mother's disdainful glare. He then looked at his niece with an apologetic expression, too scared to say another word. Sophia casually picked up a lychee from the fruit platter and played with it. How is it stealing? What I'm doing is called making an effort. Exactly, making an effort. Finally, someone wants to buy my premium cabbage. Grandma Smith offered her unconditional support. She snapped the thick stack of gift lists shut and pointed at her children. I didn't call you all here to gossip. Time is of the essence. We cannot be impolite. Check what's missing and add to it immediately. As soon as the matriarch spoke, the maids instantly handed out copies of the documents to everyone. They scrutinized it harder than when signing million-dollar corporate contracts. Why aren't there any overseas properties? You also have a vineyard in District F. It's the perfect honeymoon spot for the young couple. You just bought a few sets of antique jewelry. Add those. Plus, this sports car model comes in 5 different colors. If you haven't collected them all, go make up for it. The Smith family owned a ridiculously large number of businesses. Basically, everyone was in charge of different mega projects, so the gifts they suggested were just their own luxurious local specialties. After one round of suggestions, Grandma Smith looked at the gift list. It was now half an inch thicker. She nodded in deep satisfaction. As the meeting wrapped up, everyone slowly filtered out. Sophia stayed until the end, while Grandma Smith eyed her suspiciously. Sophia smiled sheepishly. Grandma, I kind of told Mason that you were in poor health, so the pressure to get married was super urgent and we shouldn't miss the opportunity. You brat! Using your own grandmother as bait? Seeing a loving smack incoming, Sophia quietly took 2 steps back. Don't say anything, just pretend you know, she yelled before sprinting away. The night before the engagement, your best friend, Wyatt Ting, finally made it back from Paris just in time. On the way back, he learned all about Lucy and the Lancaster family's drama. He couldn't help but grumble every time he looked at you. Lucy, that thorny woman! How dare she ditch you at your own engagement party? I told you ages ago that Ice Queen Lucy has 0 personality. You wouldn't believe it. Why must you hang yourself on this one specific tree? And that Ethan guy, ugh, I don't even want to talk about it. That happened way back in college. A car almost hit Lucy on campus, and he just shoved her out of the way. It was barely a scratch. How dare he parade around calling himself her lifesaver? Suicide by hurting himself in a reckless way, please. Wyatt Ting doesn't fall for that moral kidnapping crap. You and Lucy grew up together. This guy suddenly jumps into the game and starts playing around like a manufactured shark. The distance between Beijing and Shanghai is huge. Honestly, by the time Lucy gets there, that guy would probably already be cold. Wyatt was getting angrier by the second, rolling his eyes so hard they almost touched the sky. Over the years, Ethan's car, house, job, even his little brother's job, were all handed to him by Lucy. Even with the biggest doe eyes, there should be a limit to how much you repay someone. He patted your shoulder. Mason, women don't hold all the power in this world anymore if she's heartless. Don't blame yourself for being unjust. If you trust me, cancel the engagement. Let me introduce you to someone better. I can't stand this bastard. Oh, so now you suddenly have a vacancy? You quipped. You poured him a glass of water and handed it over. Getting mad over Lucy and Ethan isn't worth it, you said. Though Wyatt's anger hadn't subsided. Still, he took the glass and took 2 big gulps. Do you know who I bumped into at the airport on my way back? Lucy's parents and the Lancaster family, the twin sisters, went on a trip abroad together. Let alone a marriage between two major families. Even in rural areas, socializing happens. There is absolutely no excuse for the entire bride's family to just skip the event. Mason, they just think you're a pushover. They're intentionally bullying you. If you can swallow this, then from now on, your dynamic with Lucy is set in stone. I'll never say another word against it. I know Lucy has zero sense of boundaries. Arrogance and conceit are a terrible combo, you replied calmly. I know the Lancaster family is using illness as an excuse, when in reality it's an overseas vacation. They're bullying me and my brother because our parents are gone. It's just me and him struggling to keep the Miller family's business afloat. You looked up and stared intently at Wyatt. That's exactly why I want to get engaged even more. I'm just swapping out the person I'm getting engaged to. That's all. If we cancel the engagement, the Lancaster family might catch some flack, but my brother and I would also become the target of gossip and criticism. The Miller family is going through a turbulent time right now. I don't even know how many shareholders there are, but they're actively trying to find ways to take down my brother. I cannot become a burden to the Miller family, so I found someone with a background far superior to Lucy's. For me, this is the absolute best choice. As for whether this puts the Lancaster family in an awkward spot, that is completely outside my scope of consideration. Wyatt was utterly dumbfounded. What did you just say? The person changed. So the person you're getting engaged to tomorrow isn't Lucy? It's Sophia Smith? Accepting engagement gifts, the kind where both families have formally met? Wyatt was stunned to his core. Was he really thinking of the Sophia Smith, the one who had ruined Lucy's entire youth? Sophia Smith, the woman Lucy still resented to this very day. What kind of ultimate wish-fulfillment romance plot was this? He couldn't even fathom what Lucy's face would look like when she found out the truth. Her expression was going to be absolutely glorious. In all my life, I'm actually going to witness Mason kicking Lucy to the curb. This trip back was definitely not in vain. On the day of the engagement inside the Maybach's cabin, you sat in the middle of the back seat, watching the scenery blur past the window. You were nervous, thinking about meeting Sophia's family later. You clutched your phone tightly. Buzz. Your phone suddenly vibrated. You tapped the screen. A photo popped up. It showed the VIP area of a hospital, featuring a woman in a white shirt. With her back to the camera, she was handing porridge to a patient. Her jacket was draped casually over the sofa. The whole scene exuded a lazy, relaxed vibe. Even without seeing her face from the front, you could recognize Lucy at a single glance. Even though you had decided to completely cut ties with her, seeing this picture made your heart skip a beat. It was a mix of soreness and numbness. Wyatt, who was sitting nearby, clearly noticed the shift in your mood. He leaned over to peek at your phone. What the? The second half of his sentence was swallowed, instantly transforming into a fiery rant. Why won't these two flirtatious idiots just drop dead? To sum it up in one sentence, I'm about to snatch your phone and screenshot this trash. The message was unsent with lightning speed, followed by a new text. Sorry, Mr. Mason, sent to the wrong person. Wyatt gripped his phone, his face so dark it looked like it was dripping ink. He gritted his teeth and let out a deeply resentful, I start work at 8 a.m. And these manipulative little green tea ghosts are testing me. You managed to suppress the emotions that had instinctively surged up. You calmly raised your hand to help Wyatt catch his breath. What are you so angry about? He wants Lucy, so give her to him. You took your phone back. It's fine, I already sent a message and blocked them casually. Meanwhile, in a remote hospital room in Shanghai, Ethan leaned against the wall. He stared blankly at the message he'd just received. His male intuition told him that this time, something had fundamentally shifted. Assistant Lily walked in from outside, looking at the patient with an expressionless face. Mr. Ethan, CEO Lucy is flying back to Beijing today. Take good care of yourself. Your work has been reassigned to someone else. The sudden voice jolted Ethan back to reality. He bit his lip, reluctantly. CEO Lucy was about to leave, and he had even cut his own wrists. Couldn't they even manage to keep this woman here? Ethan felt his chest tighten. Can I return to Beijing with CEO Lucy? No matter what, Lucy was the best option he had access to, and he wasn't going to give up easily. Assistant Lily frowned. She had arranged for Ethan's business trip to Shanghai in advance specifically because she was afraid he'd cause trouble at Lucy's engagement party. I didn't expect that. Despite all my precautions, he still managed to drag CEO Lucy all the way here, she thought. She nodded, suppressing her frustration. Then pack up, I'll go book the flight. Ethan watched her figure disappear, clenching his fingers tightly. That assistant Lily was so annoying. No matter how hard he tried to please her, she remained completely unmoved. Once he officially secured his position as CEO Lucy's husband, she would be the very first person he fired. After Lucy and the crew flew back to Beijing, they immediately hopped into Chloe's car and sped from the airport to the boutique. Chloe gripped the steering wheel, unable to hold back her complaints. Sister Lucy, the Miller family went way too far this time. I can forgive them for humiliating me when I visited their estate last time. After all, since you and Mason are engaged, you're practically family. But they didn't even send me an invitation. She recalled the day she went to the Miller house to drop off the guest list, and the icy reception she received. The anger in her heart surged in waves. Ever since she followed Lucy to work for the Lancaster family, she had never experienced such humiliation. Mason's parents had passed away, and Sister Lucy was worried his family wouldn't be able to handle everything. She had specifically arranged for Chloe to help out at the engagement party today, aiming to teach the Miller family a lesson by deliberately not showing up. As a result, the Miller family didn't even bother sending her an invite. She was absolutely furious, purposely driving to the airport to pick up Lucy so she could file a massive complaint against the Miller family before the event even started. Chloe spilled the beans like beans falling out of a bamboo tube, but the person in the back seat had zero reaction. She peeked at Lucy through the rearview mirror. Lucy had her eyes closed, her head resting on the back of the seat. There were grayish-blue bags under her eyes, and even while resting, her brows were tightly furrowed. Even the most oblivious person could tell her mood was terrible. Chloe instinctively shot an inquiring look at Assistant Sam who had joined them. Assistant Sam silently mouthed one word, Mason. Chloe's face lit up with understanding. Ah, Mason and Sister Lucy must be fighting again. Over the years she had plenty of conflicts with Lucy because of Ethan, but Chloe didn't care much. It wouldn't take more than 3 days anyway. Mason would admit defeat and come crawling back to Sister Lucy. She was just about to reassure Lucy when the person in the back seat suddenly spoke up. Has Mason contacted you these past few days? No. You know we haven't exactly been on good terms since we were kids, Chloe replied. Lucy's face remained expressionless as she gave a curt, The car approached the boutique's entrance. Lucy checked her watch, then glanced toward the storefront not too far away. There weren't many cars parked out front, but she immediately spotted a black Bentley. The license plate 06601 looked awfully familiar. Sure enough, Chloe, who was driving, chimed in. Isn't that Sophia Smith? Everyone coming and going should be attendees of the engagement party. Sophia and the Miller family don't have any connections. They know the Lancaster family even less. What is she doing here? Wait, she's linking arms with a man. Chloe rubbed her eyes. Doesn't she like women? Lucy's gaze lingered on the two figures in the distance. Sophia was tall, unintentionally obscuring the man beside her. You couldn't see his face, only his crisp white suit and trousers. Lucy narrowed her eyes slightly, her gaze locking onto the man's back for a moment. He felt strangely familiar, kind of like Mason. She watched Sophia get into the car with the man. She rubbed her forehead. She felt like she'd been cursed these past few days. How could Mason possibly be with Sophia Smith? They came from completely different worlds. Besides, he would never wear such an embarrassing color. The car finally stopped at the boutique. Lucy pushed the door open and stepped out. When she saw the vibrant red roses lining the steps, her heart skipped a beat. The main floral supplier for the engagement party had been swapped out. These weren't the white roses she loved. A staff member at the entrance politely stopped the group from entering. Hello, our store is closed today. If you need anything, we can help you book a service for tomorrow. Lucy paused. I know, I'm here for the engagement party. The staff member looked stunned. Miss, did you mix up the time? The engagement party is already over. The venue is currently being cleaned up. Her facial expression was indescribable. Working in the industry this long, it was her first time seeing someone show up at 2 p.m. By then, most people had already attended and left. Lucy clenched her hands, which were hanging by her sides. She remained silent for a long time. Out of professional courtesy, Assistant Sam gathered the courage to step forward. Checking the time, the party is indeed over. Should we head back first? His words seemed to startle Lucy. She peered inside the store. I don't know why, but I feel incredibly anxious today. I want to go inside and take a look. The staff member looked a bit embarrassed, but given their outstanding rich person aura, it shouldn't be too much trouble. She immediately compromised. You can take a look inside, but we need to leave as soon as possible. Lucy walked in. As soon as she entered the banquet hall, she was surrounded by red roses. An intense fragrance overwhelmed the space. The staff weren't lying. The entire setup was indeed being dismantled. Two waiters were carrying a massive decorative piece woven from rose vines. It obscured most of the backdrop board, leaving only the two characters for Mason, faintly visible at the top. Lucy stared at the room filled with red roses in dead silence. She picked one up from the ground. Chloe grabbed a cigarette from the table, brought the black bag to her nose and sniffed. This type of rose seems quite rare. The dark red color paired with the soft velvet texture, it takes the red rose, which might normally look a bit tacky, and gives it an elegant, noble flair. Assistant Sam pushed his glasses up. This variety is called the black antelope. It's actually not that common under normal circumstances, but it's not exactly a super rare species either. However, mobilizing so many fresh black antelopes on such short notice, that probably took a massive amount of effort. When Chloe heard the flower wasn't that rare, she brushed it off. She casually tossed the bouquet back onto the table. I thought it was some famous flower. Muttering to herself, she greeted Lucy with a bright smile. Sister Lucy, everyone's already left. What's so interesting? Let's go too. Lucy twirled the flower in her hand, her gaze sweeping over the petals. Did you tell him I was coming back? Assistant Sam stood up straighter. I sent Mr. Mason a message right before we boarded the plane. The air in the room condensed for a second. You knew she was coming back, but you still didn't wait. Chronic sleep deprivation, combined with zero food, made Lucy's vision blur. Her beautiful figure swayed slightly. Assistant Sam quickly whipped out a piece of candy and shoved it in her mouth. Are you okay? CEO Lucy didn't eat because she was in such a rush. low blood sugar. Actually, CEO Lucy often forgets to eat because of company work. However, with Mr. Mason's daily supervision, I sometimes help CEO Lucy prepare simple meals at the office. It's been a long time since I've made this mistake, so long that I almost forgot CEO Lucy even had hypoglycemia. Chloe helped Lucy sit down on a nearby chair. This is all because Mason made Sister Lucy so angry. Sister Lucy is already exhausted from taking care of Ethan, and he still wants to throw a tantrum at such a critical moment. They didn't even wait for Sister Lucy to get engaged. It's absolutely ridiculous. Assistant Sam opened his mouth but ultimately said nothing. He just took it in. I have no right to judge whether the boss is right or wrong, he thought. Lucy leaned against the table. Let's go back. I want to see him. On the way to the Miller house, Lucy took out her phone and dialed your number. It was a busy signal every single time. The atmosphere inside the car grew even more tense. Chloe couldn't hold back anymore. Sister Lucy, you know Mason's temper. This isn't the first time he's acted unreasonably. Just ignore him. Honestly, you've spoiled him way too much. They dare to ghost you for days, even before the wedding. Once you're actually married, they'll think they're in heaven. Assistant Sam noticed her words were getting way out of line and coughed lightly. Mr. Mason is preparing the engagement party all by himself. He's just too busy. Maybe he didn't see it. I've been so swamped myself that I haven't touched my phone for days. Without a word, Lucy's expression turned incredibly gloomy. With a cold tone, she said, "You're right. I have spoiled him too much." She admitted that she was in the wrong this time. But after arriving in Shanghai, she had asked Assistant Sam to notify you, and they had tried their absolute best to rush back. After more than 10 years of friendship, couldn't you understand her even a little bit? Lucy glanced at the jewelry box on the back seat and sneered. She had even thought about making amends, rushing to bring a gift for you. Now it seemed completely unnecessary. Lucy raised her hand, rubbed her aching eyes, and tossed the velvet gift box towards Assistant Sam. Send it to Ethan. If he doesn't want it, there are plenty of people willing to take it. She was just waiting for the day you'd regret this. Assistant Sam wanted to persuade her, but his phone suddenly rang. After picking up, the girl on the other end sounded like she was about to cry. It was an assistant from the president's office. Assistant Sam, is CEO Lucy with you? Yes, she's here. What's wrong? The company is in trouble. He didn't know what they said on the other end, but Assistant Sam's already irritated face turned completely pale. On the way back to the company, Lucy's face was terrifyingly dark. After taking that call, Assistant Sam never took his hand off his phone. Chloe's hands trembled as she gripped the steering wheel. She kept muttering in a hushed voice, "How dare he? Harry, a delinquent expelled from some no-name college. If it weren't for his little brother saving Lucy, he would never have the chance to set foot in the Lancaster Group in his lifetime. How dare he sell defective goods as high-quality products? They manipulated the collaboration between the Lancaster and Lewis families. You should know the two biggest partners of the Lancaster family, aside from the Millers, were the Lewises. Now that things had escalated to this point, even if they stabilized the partnership with the Lewis family, Lucy's reputation would be ruined. He lusted after a price difference of tens of millions of dollars, but what he was destroying was the very foundation of the Lancaster family. Assistant Sam dialed the number again, but no one answered. It rang until it automatically disconnected. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by an unusually deep frown. His tone was rigid when he spoke to Lucy. CEO Lucy, no one is answering Mr. Lewis's phone. Over the years, Mason had been in charge of negotiating the projects between the Lancasters and the Lewises. The two families were old friends, and they never made things difficult regarding this matter. This was the very first time Mr. Lewis had ghosted their calls. Assistant Sam recalled that CEO Lucy had missed the engagement party for Ethan. He furrowed his brows. There had been issues with the sourcing of raw materials for the past 6 months, but it coincidentally blew up at this exact moment. Mr. Lewis might not necessarily intend to vent his anger, but right from the start, Assistant Sam hadn't agreed with the Yi brothers joining the company. It was CEO Lucy who insisted on doing things her own way. Despite all opposition, she backed those two into positions of power. The marriage alliance between the Millers and the Lancasters was already on rocky ground, not to mention the company's projects were now in deep trouble. He just didn't understand it. CEO Lucy was clearly a smart person. Why was it that every time Ethan was involved, she seemed to lose her damn mind? Thinking of the Yi brothers, they were like stubborn skin parasites. Assistant Sam closed his eyes, an unprecedented feeling of helplessness washing over him. Lucy listened to Chloe's whispers, her heart pounding uncontrollably. It felt like it was going to burst out of her chest. When Harry was appointed as the warehouse manager, he had just started the job. The voices of opposition were still ringing in her ears. CEO Lucy, Harry's abilities are simply inadequate for the warehouse manager position. If you want to train him, let him start from the basics. CEO Lucy, Harry's educational background barely qualifies him to be a security guard at our company. Pulling him up this high might not be entirely appropriate. Even Chloe, who never contradicted her, had voiced her unusual opposition. Sister Lucy, you're crazy. He was expelled for theft, and you're letting him manage the warehouse? How is that any different from locking a mouse in a rice jar? What did she say back then? She thought they just didn't like Ethan bringing their personal biases into the workplace. She thought Assistant Sam was just being an elitist snob, judging people solely based on their education level and prejudice. As for Chloe's accusation of theft, it was just his roommate's watch, worth tens of thousands of yuan, she had reasoned. She wouldn't even bat an eye at a watch in that price range. In her opinion, it didn't even count as real theft. She told them she would take full responsibility if anything happened. It was due to her sheer arrogance. She thought that given Harry's lack of ability, even if he made a mistake, she could easily cover it up. The car slammed on the brakes and stopped in front of the Lancaster Company building. Lucy and Chloe got out first. When Assistant Sam stepped out of the car, he saw the black velvet gift box, the exact gift Lucy had picked out for you. Now she was being ordered to deliver it to Ethan. Assistant Sam really wanted to ignore it. He suddenly paused, right as he was about to close the door, reached in and grabbed it. Walking past the front desk, he handed the gift box and the address to one of the receptionists. Have her deliver this. On the top floor of the Lancaster building, an assistant brought in hot coffee for the third time. Her eyes were red, and she looked like she was on the verge of tears. Secretary Wang, please have some coffee. CEO Lucy and Assistant Sam haven't returned yet, and Mr. Mason isn't here either. She had no choice but to bite the bullet and entertain them. Secretary Wang, representing the Lewis family, wearing a sharp business suit, sat up straight on the sofa and glanced at the mechanical wall clock. Her tone was less than friendly. We don't want your company's coffee. Mr. Lewis's status is much higher, and I, a humble secretary, can't bear this. The assistant's trembling eyes pooled with tears. CEO Lucy is on her way here. Please wait just a little longer. Secretary Wang was also absolutely furious, and seeing the assistant crying and whining only irritated her more. Don't cry. If anyone sees this, they'll think I'm bullying you. I have no idea how Lucy climbed to the position of CEO. What kind of people does the CEO's office hire? That Ethan guy over there, as a secretary, he's constantly getting headaches, fevers, and taking sick leave. The CEO personally escorts them around. And here we have this delicate, fragile assistant who only knows how to pour coffee and bursts into tears after 2 sentences. The assistant was so terrified by these words that she almost bawled. She looked at Wang with red, teary eyes, trying desperately to hold back her sobs. Yes, I'm sorry. Lucy coincidentally witnessed this exact scene as she walked in. She shot Secretary Wang a look of deep dissatisfaction, then told her assistant, "You can go downstairs first." She waited for the assistant to leave. The office door closed. Lucy sat down across from Secretary Wang, picked up the contract on the table, flipped through it, and said coldly, "I will explain this matter to the Lewis family." Secretary Wang raised an eyebrow at her. Her gaze swept over Lucy, ultimately locking onto the grayish-blue dark circles under her eyes. A mocking smile played on her lips. Explain? Mr. Lewis wants more than just an explanation. Secretary Wang's unrestrained, scrutinizing gaze made Lucy's already irritable heart flare up even more. Her fingers, which had been flipping through the contract, abruptly stopped. With a half-smile, she asked, "Mrs. Wang, how do you think this matter should be handled?" Secretary Wang flashed a perfectly polite smile. "Terminate the partnership. Ms. Lancaster will compensate Mr. Lewis for the damages he incurred, issue a public apology, and pay the predetermined liquidated damages." Lucy looked down at the document in her hands. "If I'm not mistaken, the Lewis family hasn't even used any of these materials yet, right?" She closed the file and looked up at Secretary Wang's delicate face. "Let's compromise. The Lewis family keeps this batch of materials. We will refund half of the initial payment. This saves the Lewis family money, and we don't have to haul the goods back and forth. It's a win-win." Secretary Wang sneered, raising her hands in a slow clap. CEO Lucy truly has a brilliant plan. Her tone was dripping with sarcasm. "Ms. Lancaster, why don't you take a wild guess why none of the goods have been used after 6 months? It's not that they're unusable. The Lewis family has always pursued a high-end business strategy. All materials are carefully selected. Selling defective products to our customers as high-end goods is basically digging our own grave." Secretary Wang's face turned cold and stern. "My proposal is the only solution. Ms. Lancaster has 3 days. Why don't you think it over?" She snatched the document right out of Lucy's hand. "In 3 days, if the Lewis family doesn't see the Lancaster family's sincerity, we'll see you in court." Having dropped the mic, Secretary Wang turned toward the door in her leather shoes. "Secretary Wang, are you sure you have the authority to settle this matter?" Lucy sat on the sofa, her legs long and elegantly crossed. Her gaze toward Secretary Wang held a hidden meaning, a subtle hint of disdain. Secretary Wang paused, turning back to look at Lucy on the sofa. Her eyeliner-winged eyes narrowed slightly. "What exactly does CEO Lucy mean by that?" Lucy picked up a water cup, poured herself a drink, and took a sip. "The Lewis family and the Miller family have a very close relationship, and I am the fiancée of Mason Miller." She looked up at Secretary Wang. "You want to cause trouble for the Lancasters? Does Mr. Lewis even know about this?" Secretary Wang stared at Lucy, who seemed bizarrely confident, and found it genuinely hilarious. "I actually feel a bit sorry for you. So it turns out she herself knows about the collusion between Ms. Lancaster and Mr. Lewis. It was all thanks to your hard work that this collaboration even happened. Did she ever stop to think that the sunshine eventually runs out? He vouched for her in front of Chairman Lewis. She can't even manage her own subordinates, letting someone sabotage the goods so her best friend's brother could climb the ladder using your resources. They'll throw you under the bus and blow this up the second things go south. If only Chairman Lewis was a little less short-sighted, let alone the partnership with the Lancaster family, even the relationship between the Millers and the Lewises will take a hit. Secretary Wang genuinely couldn't understand it. What did you ever see in Lucy? She recalled what happened 2 days ago at the Lewis office, seeing the invitation at the front desk, and Mr. Lewis's phone call at noon. The smile on her face grew even brighter. Whether I can make the decision or not is my own business. CEO Lucy doesn't need to worry about that. If CEO Lucy has this much free time, you should probably spend it figuring out how to raise those funds. The moment the office door clicked shut, Lucy finally lost it. She swept her arm across the desk, sending all the cups crashing to the floor. The secretary's office was located right outside the president's office. Through the glass doors, you could easily spot a few young assistants inside, frantically organizing documents. Secretary Yi's badge spot was currently glaringly empty. You could hear their complaints leaking out even through the crack in the door. The mess Harry made. Why are we the ones who have to clean it up? Isn't Assistant Ethan his brother? Why not let him gather the statistics himself? This data warehouse has years of files. I couldn't finish sorting this even if I pulled an all-nighter. Keep your voice down, someone shushed. If Assistant Ethan and CEO Lucy hear you, you'll pay for it. Haven't you heard the gossip? CEO Lucy skipped Director Mason's engagement party just for Assistant Ethan. Oh really? Poor Director Mason. You don't say. The young master of the Miller family got his fiancée snatched by some money-grubbing country bumpkin. Secretary Wang raised an eyebrow as she listened to their juicy gossip, looking at them with sheer amusement. Her footsteps didn't stop. Holding the folder, she stepped into the elevator. Just moments ago, Lucy was still parading around, calling herself your fiancé. Even the assistants in the president's office were slow to get the latest news. How fascinating. The Lancaster family is massive, yet surprisingly, no one knew you had just gotten engaged to the Smith family's daughter. Secretary Wonks admired her beautiful reflection in the shiny elevator doors. Looking fresh, she pulled a lipstick from her bag to touch up her makeup. Things were definitely getting interesting. On the other side of town, Sophia Smith had just helped you into the car. The privacy partition rolled up, leaving just the two of you in the intimate space. Sophia smoothed her dress and turned to look at you. You must have woken up really early today. If you're tired, you can rest for a bit. I'll wake you when we get there. You were massaging your sore ankle and nodded very honestly. I'm not tired, just my foot hurts a little. I should soak it in hot water when I get home to ease the pain. To look a little cooler today, you had worn brand new shoes all day. After a few hours, your ankles were practically blistered. Sophia looked down at your ankle. True enough, it was a bit swollen. Her expression darkened slightly. She leaned down and grabbed your ankle, the sudden warmth making you shiver. Sophia accurately pressed her fingers into the pressure points on your ankle, gently comforting you. Don't move. Let me massage it for you. It doesn't hurt. You lied through your teeth, though whether it hurt or not was beside the point. You felt incredibly embarrassed and looked down. Sophia gently wrapped her fingers around your ankle. The contrast between her slender, delicate hands and your ankle was striking. The air in the car grew heavy, feeling like oxygen was slowly thinning out. You firmly resisted the urge to pull your foot back, desperately trying to find a topic to distract yourself. Thanks for everything today, Sophia. When do you plan on getting the marriage certificate? The second those words left your mouth, you wanted to slap yourself. You hastily explained, don't misunderstand. I just mean, you kept your promise to me. So now it's my turn to keep mine. Sophia's hands kept moving, a fleeting smile appearing in her eyes. I know Mr. Mason is a man of his word, she said casually. There's no misunderstanding. She looked up, shooting you a mysterious glance. Why is Mr. Mason panicking so much? You had started off quite open and honest, but one look from Sophia, and you actually started feeling a bit guilty. But even if you were losing, you weren't going to lose your spirit. You stubbornly refused to back down from a good opportunity, lifting your chin with a proud expression. I'm not panicking! If I were panicking, I wouldn't have brought up getting the marriage certificate. True, I just figured we've only known each other for a few days, and I was worried that if we rushed the registration, young Master Mason might feel uncomfortable. It seems I underestimated young Master Mason's adaptability. I was wrong. She glanced at her watch. It's almost 4 p.m. It's too late today. Are you free tomorrow, young Master Mason? What were you supposed to say? There's no rush. But you remembered you were the one who brought it up. You just had to swallow your broken teeth. Gritting them, you nodded. Barring any surprises, yes, I'm available. You had taken half a month off to prep for your engagement party, so you still had 3 days of vacation left. Sophia simply said, oh, that's fine. I'll come pick you up tomorrow. The car pulled up to the entrance of your residential complex. Sophia stepped out and popped the trunk, taking out the clothes you'd changed out of and the gift boxes you'd received. You reached out, a bit embarrassed, to take them. I'll do it myself. Sophia dodged your hand. You have a foot injury. I'll bring them up for you. You were completely captivated by her gaze, and the image of her massaging your ankle instantly flooded your mind. You instinctively shrank your ankle back, compromising. The conversation in the car just now made you realize that your resistance against Sophia Smith was pathetically weak. Every time you were alone with her, your IQ and emotional intelligence plummeted off a cliff. So you decided to just shut up, quietly following her shadow, walking slowly forward. The house you bought wasn't huge, but it was a high-end residential complex right in the city center. The landscaping was top tier, a quiet sanctuary amidst the hustle and bustle. It's just that ever since joining the Lancaster family, you had always left early and returned late, completely lacking the energy to appreciate the scenery. But right now, strolling leisurely through the trees with Sophia, your anxious emotions miraculously settled down. You were soaking in a rare moment of relaxation, not even noticing when Sophia came to stand right beside you, until she spoke in a soft voice. Do you like it here? You took a breath. Honestly, I don't. Sophia seemingly chuckled. You looked at her in confusion. Having outstanding looks really did come with its own set of perks. Never mind. Looking like that, it makes sense. Her sense of humor is a bit weird, you thought. What kind of style do you prefer? She asked right before stepping into the elevator. I prefer small courtyards in the Jiangnan garden style. Carved beams, painted rafters, pavilions, and towers. You can plant flowers, raise fish, listen to the rain, and admire the plum blossoms. A Chinese-style courtyard has zero flaws, except maybe the draft from the fireplace. You lowered your head suspiciously. Why are you suddenly asking this? Sophia, carrying the bags, looked at you. Nothing. The Smith family's real estate division just bought a plot of land. I haven't decided what project to develop there yet, so I was looking for some inspiration. Was this the difference in mindset between normal people and business elites? She definitely deserved to be making that kind of money. After seeing Sophia off, she left. You took off your shoes and walked barefoot on the carpet. You had to admit it. Sophia's massage technique was incredibly effective. At the very least, the soreness had faded significantly. You grabbed the gift bags from the entryway table, took them to your room and started organizing. You were about to open the closet to pick out some clothes for a hot shower, when you saw a wardrobe stuffed entirely with black, white, and gray suits. Your fingers tightened slightly around the door handle. Honestly, your face suited brighter, more vibrant colors perfectly. They complemented your skin tone beautifully. You remembered even back in the orphanage, the director would buy you white shirts, saying you looked so handsome in white. After returning to the Miller family, your father wanted to make it up to you, telling you to pick out whatever beautiful clothes you liked. Your closet back then could only be described as a rainbow. When did it all start? Now. Your clothes were exclusively black and gray. Thinking back carefully, it seemed it all began after Ethan showed up. Ethan was so gentle, pitiful, and seemingly in constant need of protection. Because of that, whether it was Lucy or Chloe, the friend you grew up with, they slowly gravitated toward his constant displays of weakness. To get more of Lucy's attention, you could only swallow your anger, change your entire style, and try to become the person Lucy liked, to the point where you completely lost yourself. When Sophia arrived at the private club room, a group of people were goofing around in the gardens. Their faces were flushed with alcohol. Seeing Sophia walk in, someone stood up and gestured for her to sit. Sister Sophia, come join the game. I specifically saved a seat for you. They were swaying unsteadily, packed together like sardines in a can, making room for her. Sophia glanced at the drunk blonde guy, dodging his reaching claws. I'm not interested in this kind of game. Play amongst yourselves. She sat down next to Penny. Penny was wearing a white dress that reflected a cold, icy glow under the strobe lights. It was a stark contrast to the lively chaos over there. Penny's corner was as silent as a melodramatic idol drama, complete with a CEO who looked like she was suffering. Sophia picked up a red object from the table and poured herself a drink. Without any hesitation, she blew Penny's cover. It's just our people here. Stop pretending. Penny's calm facade shattered instantly. Sophia's narrow phoenix-like eyes were full of caution. Everyone keeps saying we're a couple, and you literally just got engaged. What if I'm a little sad about it? Sophia quietly slid to the side, keeping her distance. I am a married woman, don't flatter yourself. Penny almost laughed out of sheer anger. You're no fun. People like you actually managed to catch Mason. She looked Sophia up and down, then downed the glass of red wine she had been using purely as a prop for posing. Tell me, how did you score such a bargain? For years, Sophia hadn't shown an ounce of interest in romance. Even Penny thought she honestly just didn't care about men. The result was a terrifying shock. Mason from the Foreign Languages Department. Back in the day, the line of people chasing him stretched from the language department all the way to the campus gates. Sophia coolly adjusted her posture. What do you mean scored a bargain? This is called destiny, Penny scoffed. Destiny? Destiny is when you coincidentally end up at someone's house. Thousands of miles away, out of thousands of people, with zero margin for error. I passed by Mason more than 10 times. Now that was a lucky coincidence. Penny chuckled. You're amazing. If it weren't for her absolute skepticism toward you, she would have sacrificed herself for her family. Using that answer as a starting point, they could trace it back, find evidence, and check the bar's surveillance footage. They were still completely clueless, but that decisive, ruthlessly efficient method, that was classic Sophia Smith. Seize the opportunity and take down the opponent in one strike. Sophia seemed completely oblivious to Penny's sarcasm. She nodded as if it were a universal truth. I've always been good at that. Accepting compliments from every angle, Sophia had no desire to discuss her private life with other women. She downed the rest of her drink in one gulp, casually placing the glass back on the table. Her dark eyes swept over the group of people staggering toward them. Do they really have this much free time lately? Penny and Sophia exchanged a glance. Penny grabbed the glass on the table and poured another round, adding some water to Sophia's cup too. Lounging lazily on the sofa, she said, "If you use the same method you used to catch Mason, you need to spare a fraction of your attention for the club. It's not even that they showed up to join. I didn't even know about that live stream event. We run this studio together, so why am I the only one stressing out from start to finish?" Sophia shot her a cold look. Years of unspoken understanding helped Penny instantly grasp Sophia's meaning. "Do you even have the right to name drop Mason?" Penny quietly zipped her lips. "Let's raise our glasses and toast to Sophia." Sophia slowly and carefully adjusted her clothes. "I'm done drinking. I'm afraid your brother-in-law will worry. You guys keep drinking, put it on my tab." Penny was speechless. Arriving just to show off and leave? If I couldn't beat her in a fight, I'd really want to scratch her twice, she thought. Seeing Sophia standing up and getting ready to leave, Penny hurriedly added, "What your partner means is, we're hoping the two of us can join the live stream event with Blondie. What do you think?" Back in the day, she and Sophia hadn't retired yet, and he and the blonde guy were regular teammates. They were known as the Three Musketeers. After graduating college, because she and Sophia focused all their attention on Yaoguang and retired from the club, the youngest Blondie was left to carry the entire operation. All in all, they hadn't played games in ages, and Weibo was constantly flooded with comments from fans hoping for a comeback. Even though a full comeback was impossible, they could use this chance to pay tribute to the past. Giving some perks to the fans is a good thing, Penny reasoned. Sophia paused for a moment as she walked out the door. Suddenly, images of her college dorm flashed before her eyes. Lucy and Chloe playing games, blaming you for running a crappy machine. Your trembling appearance. A flicker of pain flashed in her eyes. "I might be pretty busy during this period. I don't have plans for that right now." Penny watched the woman's figure disappear and quietly rolled her eyes. She had rolled her eyes more times today than in the entire first half of her life. She shook her head, mimicking Sophia's exact tone from earlier, full of sarcasm. "I'm quite busy lately. We're from the same company. How would I not know if she's actually busy or not? Are you kidding me? She's just busy rushing home to please her husband, right? Someone who values her lover over her friends." You stepped out of the bathroom, drying your hair. An hour had passed, and the sunset on the horizon was absolutely perfect. You didn't use a hairdryer, instead grabbing a book and heading to the balcony to read, letting your hair air dry. The screen of your phone lit up where it lay casually on the table. A message from an unknown number popped up. You casually picked it up, clicked on it, grabbed your book, and walked toward the balcony. The text was short, accompanied by a photo. "Sister Lucy's new watch. Is it pretty?" The photo didn't show a face clearly, just a wrist, sporting a Patek Philippe watch. It was obviously from Ethan. You had blocked him on WeChat last time, so this time he just used a random burner number. You sneered. He really was a lingering ghost. You had zero desire to waste time on Ethan's green tea antics. Exiting the notification interface, out of habit, you opened WeChat. You saw Assistant Sam's message from an hour ago. "Mr. Mason, the Lancaster and Lewis family projects have hit a snag. Could you please get Mr. Lewis to answer his phone for me?" You were always in charge of those projects. When you saw Uncle Lewis today, he was perfectly fine. What kind of problems could have possibly popped up? You tapped your phone. What happened? Assistant Sam seemed to be waiting right by the phone. Almost immediately, the typing bubble appeared. It flashed a few times, but ultimately only one sentence came through. "Minor issue. You just need to get Mr. Lewis to answer the phone." This meant they didn't want to tell you. You opened the company group chat. It was totally quiet inside. They were just slacking off and chatting. Obviously, Lucy was keeping this tightly under wraps even from you. You easily guessed who it was. With Ethan right in front of Assistant Sam, even though small petty acts continued, they weren't involved in major company projects. It was highly likely his useless brother had caused the mess. Harry was the warehouse manager. Your heart tightened. The warehouse manager position wasn't massive in scale, but if they actually messed something up, it could trigger a catastrophic disaster. You clenched your phone tightly. Thinking about how Lucy was still trying to protect Harry, your desire to leave the Lancaster family grew even stronger. Assistant Sam hadn't received your reply, so another text came through. "Mr. Mason, are you still there?" You tapped the screen with your finger. "Since it's a minor issue, I'll deal with it when I get back to the office after my vacation." Just one sentence silenced Assistant Sam completely. You put your phone on silent, fixed your hair, and curled up in the recliner to read. "I need your help, but I don't want you to know about it. Please. There's no such thing as a free lunch." Anyway, looking at Uncle Lewis's expression today, it was quite reassuring. It seemed highly unlikely the Lewis family would actually be harmed. So let Assistant Sam and Lucy figure it out themselves. When Harry was brought into the company, they chanted those slogans pretty loudly, didn't they? Now that things have gone south, let her clean up her own mess. In the top-floor CEO office of the Lancaster Group, Lucy stood before the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, looking east through the glass. "The direction of your neighborhood. Assistant Sam stood behind her, pursing his lips. CEO Lucy, our company's current working capital is nowhere near enough to plug the hole left by the Lewis family. $800 million in payments over 6 months plus penalty fees. Even if we rob Peter to pay Paul, we'd still be short by half. I don't know why, but the Lewis family's attitude is incredibly firm this time. Secretary Wang, who is normally so gentle and approachable, suddenly turned hostile, treating everyone with utter contempt. They won't even grant a few days extension. 3 days means exactly 3 days. If we don't have those funds in 3 days, they'll expose the fact that we sold defective goods under the guise of high-quality products. The scandal will be made public, and a lawsuit will be filed. Once this gets out, our other partners will definitely make things difficult for us. By then, it won't be a problem that can be solved just by refunding a few $100 million. Our reputation will be obliterated, and anyone wanting to work with us in the future will have to seriously reconsider. Turning this situation around was as difficult as scaling Heaven itself. Assistant Sam understood these principles perfectly, and Lucy naturally knew them too. Still can't reach Mason. Assistant Sam hesitated for a moment. I guess we technically made contact. Hearing this, Lucy finally turned to look at him. What do you mean, technically made contact? Assistant Sam carefully weighed his words. You temporarily forbade me from disclosing any information about Harry to Mr. Mason. So, Mr. Mason said he'd deal with everything after he returns from his vacation. Lucy shot him an icy glare. Text him. Tell him to come to the company. Assistant Sam opened his mouth, but before he could finish his sentence, Lucy cut him off. Immediately. Right now. Assistant Sam winced, but he's not replying to messages anymore, and I called but he won't answer. Lucy felt like she had just punched a cotton ball. She was burning with rage but couldn't ignite anything. She glared at Assistant Sam, yanked out her phone and dialed your number herself. It was just the continuous beep of the dial tone. Don't hang up, she muttered. No one answered. Lucy's face was as dark as the bottom of a scorched pot. What exactly does he do all day? She glanced at Assistant Sam. Has it always been this hard to contact him? Even though they grew up together, it was always Mason clinging to her, proactively calling her. She rarely initiated contact first. This was her first time being denied entry at your door twice in a row. Of course not, Sam replied. Mr. Mason is the director of the business department. His phone has tons of client numbers. Under normal circumstances, his phone is on 24/7. It used to be incredibly easy to reach him, but right now, faced with Lucy's interrogation, Assistant Sam just bowed his head, too scared to say a word. Running out of patience, Lucy grabbed her suit jacket from the sofa and stormed out. Assistant Sam quickened his pace to catch up. CEO Lucy, where are you going? The company still has so many messy issues to deal with, and we're still keeping this hidden from the shareholders and the chairman, Lucy replied coldly. Let's go see what Mason is actually doing. Just as the words left her mouth, her phone suddenly rang. Assistant Sam's eyes lit up. It must be Mr. Mason calling. He might ignore me, but he adores you, CEO Lucy. I'm sure he's calling back the second he saw your missed call. Lucy's footsteps stopped. She looked down at the phone in her hand. The usually calm Assistant Sam hurried over, his face full of anticipation. Is it Mr. Mason? The Lancaster family's troubles seem pretty massive, but if Mr. Mason is willing to speak to Chairman Lewis on your behalf, then all our problems will be solved. As soon as he finished speaking, he realized Lucy's aura was becoming increasingly cold and terrifying. Her hand gripped the phone so hard she almost crushed it. Assistant Sam looked down. Lucy's phone was still vibrating, and the incoming call notification was clear on the brightly lit screen. It was Ethan's name. Assistant Sam's joy vanished completely. His body went rigid and he stepped back half a pace without making a sound, desperately trying to minimize his presence. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw CEO Lucy staring at the screen for a long time. She finally answered the call right before it automatically disconnected. He didn't know what they were saying on the other end, but her face was as cold as ice. I see. Now that it's over, you just want to let your hair down and get some fresh air. To everyone's surprise, you were sitting comfortably on the recliner taking it easy. By the time you woke up, it was completely dark outside. The only light source on the entire balcony came from the dim glow of distant neon signs. You picked up your phone to check the time. It was past 10 p.m. You had a few missed calls, most of them from Assistant Sam. The very last one was from Lucy, about 8 hours ago. The most recent notification was from a few hours back. It's mainly because of the Lewis family's issue that Lucy actually initiated a call to me, you thought. Seems like I've caused quite a bit of trouble. You chuckled self-deprecatingly, turned off the screen and walked toward the kitchen. You spotted a few packs of snail rice noodles you'd bought earlier sitting on the shelf. Might as well boil some. You picked up your phone to set a timer for the boiling water when an incoming call suddenly popped up. It was Lucy. Initially, you intended to hang up immediately, thinking, I'm still technically employed at her company. You hesitated for 2 seconds before hitting the answer button. The other end was silent for a moment. Even through the screen, you could practically picture her cold, unyielding face. Mason? Lucy finally spoke, her voice thick and raspy. You replied with a curt, Sensing your icy attitude, Lucy paused. You were getting impatient. Hello? If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up now. Why aren't you answering her calls? Why haven't we heard anything from you these past few days? Why did you know she was coming back but still didn't wait for her at the engagement? Why did she lower herself to call you, and you didn't answer, and didn't call back? As soon as the call connected, Lucy had a million questions she wanted to fire at you. But when it actually came down to speaking, she only managed to force out one rigid sentence. Why? You lowered your head. Very busy. Phone was on silent. Didn't see it. This was the exact same excuse Lucy always used to brush you off. Today you finally handed it right back to her. Lucy took a deep breath. I know you're still mad. This is my fault. I can apologize to you. But our private feelings shouldn't be dragged into the workplace. You've always been in charge of the Lewis family projects. The engagement party is over. The rest of your vacation is cancelled. Come to my office tomorrow. You stared at the boiling water in the pot, grabbed your chopsticks and stirred the noodles. Not tomorrow. I have an appointment. Lucy took another deep breath, her tone bleeding impatience. Mason, I am talking to you about a very serious matter. You should only throw a tantrum up to a certain point. Could you please stop acting so unreasonably? You almost laughed out loud from pure anger. Just as you were about to fire back, you heard a soft, sweet male voice from her end of the line. Sister Lucy. This was immediately followed by Lucy's undisguised impatience. Mason, 9 a.m. tomorrow. If I don't see you at the company, then you never need to come to the company again. She hung up immediately after issuing that threat. You stared at the disconnected call, pausing for 2 seconds. I never need to come to the company again? That's fantastic. Originally, you were still a bit nervous about getting your marriage certificate tomorrow. But after Lucy's threat, you were absolutely determined to go. Meanwhile, in the study of the Smith family's old estate, a woman dressed in black silk sat behind a massive desk. A thick stack of real estate deeds was spread out before her. Assistant Xavier stood nearby, flipping through a tablet, thoroughly cross-referencing each property deed with its floor plan. Finally, 2 properties were selected from the massive pile. CEO Smith, please take a look at these 2. She picked up the deeds and a brochure and placed them side by side in front of Sophia. These 2 options, one is a modern Chinese-style villa, the other is an ancient courtyard house in Beijing. Both meet your requirements. Sophia carefully examined the design blueprints, moving her mouse around. Your phrase Jiangnan garden style kept looping in her mind. Her gaze swept past the modern villa and stopped dead on the courtyard house blueprints. She remembered this courtyard clearly, the coming-of-age gift her grandfather gave her before he passed away. A traditional 3-section courtyard house, formerly the residence of a Qing dynasty official. The overall aesthetic was classic Suzhou garden style. She tapped her slender finger lightly on the deed. This is the one. Have someone go clean it up tomorrow. Assistant Xavier Liknin Manhing Maiting glanced at the computer screen. Even though she completely didn't understand her boss Smith's sudden urge to review property deeds in the middle of the night, obediently nodding was always the correct response. She quickly and efficiently organized the remaining deeds, opened the door and stepped out. As the door clicked shut, Sophia raised her hand and massaged her temples. She picked up the chosen property deed from the desk. Thoughts swirled in her head. I wonder if this fits your taste. Her eyes stayed fixed on the paper, but her mind had drifted far away. Originally, she had no intention of getting the marriage certificate this early, but she knew that Lucy had returned to Beijing. Even if Lucy wasn't a worthy opponent, after all the beautiful years you had spent together, an encounter might just bring back a sliver of warmth. She absolutely did not want you to regret meeting Lucy again. Therefore, the only option was to finalize the official paperwork as soon as humanly possible. I wonder if you feel like I'm acting too hastily and abruptly, she thought. Sophia picked up her phone and unlocked it, opening your chat window. Her fingers hovered, making a few tentative typing motions, but no words came out. Amidst her hesitation, a message popped up on her screen. It was exactly what you had sent. The first thing that caught her eye was the photo. Steaming hot noodles and a perfectly golden fried egg. It looked absolutely delicious. Right after that came a short text. I'm going to get the marriage certificate tomorrow. Remember to pick me up? Sophia stared at her screen, rubbing her 2 fingers together over the message you just sent. After a moment of deep thought, she replied very seriously, offering a perfect response. After hitting send, she felt that sending just one single word seemed a bit too cold, so she quietly added another line. Eat and rest early. I'll pick you up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. After sending that, she tapped on the photo you sent, zoomed in, examined it, saved it to her favorites, and exited the interface. She flipped her phone over and muttered to herself, after all these years, the flavor still hasn't changed. At 7 a.m. the next day, your internal body clock, perfected over years of corporate slavery, woke you up right on time. After washing the dishes, you went straight downstairs, intentionally arriving 10 minutes early. Surprisingly, Sophia's car was already parked and waiting. She walked around to the driver's seat, sat down, and slowly buckled her seatbelt. Have you eaten breakfast? You shook your head. Not yet. Sophia looked up at you with those eyes you'd been familiar with for so long. She reached over and pulled out a bag of meat buns and soy milk. I bought this on the way. Try it and see if it's good. You took the bag and opened it, the distinct aroma of wheat instantly filling the cabin. Eat more. You arrived early. It's not a special holiday, she noted. Indeed, there weren't many people at the Civil Affairs Bureau applying for marriage certificates. The whole process was incredibly smooth. Watching the steel seals get stamped down with your own eyes, you felt a mix of loss and profound relief. You received that compact little red booklet. From this moment on, you were officially Sophia Smith's husband. It turned out that not marrying Lucy wasn't nearly as painful as you had imagined. As you exited the Civil Affairs Bureau, the parking lot's entrance and exit were blocked by a young couple's car. While waiting for someone to move the vehicle, Sophia took out her little red booklet and held up her phone. Do you want to take a picture? You raised your hand obligingly like a human selfie stick. She placed her booklet right next to yours and took 3 consecutive photos, then meticulously selected the best one. She opened Weibo. Are you going to post this in the family group chat or on WeChat Moments? You wondered. But when you saw her opening Weibo, your scalp practically tingled with anxiety. Did this person not realize her massive influence? Her fans definitely lacked a clear understanding. She was a former esports pro with millions of fans and the most beloved granddaughter of the Smith family. Suddenly announcing her marriage was guaranteed to break the internet. Are her male fans literally going to tear me apart? You panicked inwardly. She seemed to notice your mood shift. They probably don't want me to post on Weibo, she muttered. You blinked. I just wonder if it's too high profile? Then you remembered that when Sophia agreed to get engaged to you, she explicitly said she just wanted a very public husband to deal with her family's pressure to marry, and to reassure their business partners while shutting down industry rumors. Therefore, the grander the wedding, the better. And anyway, it was just a photo of the cover of a marriage certificate. It won't affect you much, you rationalized, shaking your head repeatedly. You can post it. Sophia stared at you for 2 whole seconds. Then she looked down at her phone. Let's just stop using Weibo. But the disappointment on her face was undeniable. Her tone was also pouty. If you don't want to, it's fine not to post. No impact. The cars blocking the way had finally moved. Sophia looked ahead and started the engine. I'll just show you the profile picture. She repeated it again. No impact. You couldn't tell if it was just your imagination, but it felt like every time she said no impact, she was radiating disappointment and accusation from head to toe. And you were the oathbreaker. Speaking of the accused failing to deliver, seeing Sophia about to turn the steering wheel to leave the parking lot, you finally cracked. You hurriedly said, nobody said they didn't want it. You can post it. Sophia's hands remained tight on the wheel. The car didn't budge. She just turned her head and looked at you, as if confirming whether you were deceiving her again. Being stared at with such a reproachful, aggrieved gaze, you felt like a notorious scammer who specialized in tricking people into marriage. You were the one who asked for her help. Your problem was solved. Now it was Sophia's turn, and you were making excuses and hesitating? Reaping unjust benefits while pretending to be innocent. A massive wave of guilt crashed over you. You said softly, you can post it. Sophia's aggrieved expression finally softened. Really? It can really be posted? You nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Yes, post it. To show your absolute resolve, you actively handed her phone back, which she had tossed aside. Post, send it right now. Finally, Sophia reluctantly took the phone, unlocked it, quickly edited the caption, added the photo she just chose, and hit send. I sent it, you nodded again. She sent it. The car restarted and slowly drove out of the parking lot. Exactly as expected, almost immediately after Sophia posted on Weibo, her notifications went absolutely insane. Endless buzzing. Even though she had retired years ago, her massive and highly active fan base meant the post received countless comments from netizens the second it went live. You had already mentally prepared yourself for the fans' protests. Surprisingly, Sophia's fans had a completely skewed focus. More important than who she was marrying was their burning curiosity about what kind of extraordinary being could actually conquer her icy heart. You could see a long list of legendary God Sophia quotes online. You glanced at Sophia next to you. So this is the kind of person Sophia is. You definitely remembered the campus confession wall. Her persona was the cold, aloof goddess. Maybe it was because you'd been zoning out for too long? But Sophia spun the steering wheel and the black Bentley came to a smooth halt in a roadside parking spot. She glanced at the teasing comments from netizens on her phone, fully aware of what was going on. She looked at you intently. Do you think I'm like you imagined? This place seems a little different from reality. You nodded honestly. A little. She leaned forward, looking up right into your eyes. Do you want to get to know the real me better? You looked at the woman sitting so dangerously close to you, almost on the verge of tears. You felt like something had slammed right into your chest. You completely spaced out on whatever she just said, just nodding dumbly. Sophia extended her right pinky finger. Pinky promise. You stared at her extended hand in slight bewilderment. After graduating kindergarten, you hadn't played the pinky promise game. But Sophia's slender fingers were a sheer absolute challenge for anyone with a hand fetish. That's really too tempting, you muttered, reaching out dizzily. Her pinky hooked around yours, the touch exactly as soft as you'd imagined. Sophia pulled her hand back, restarted the car and said, since you agreed, let's start with a game. Our club is having an event in a few days. You and I are going to participate together. You were still drowning in the lingering sensation of touching Sophia's hand when her words suddenly registered. Your eyes snapped wide open. A game? What game? You were a legendary black hole at gaming. Just as you were about to demand clarification, your phone suddenly rang in your pocket. You pulled it out and glanced at the screen. Assistant Sam. Probably calling to demand an explanation, you thought. You swiped to answer. Assistant Sam's slightly panicked voice immediately came through. Mr. Mason, where are you? CEO Lucy is absolutely furious. I'm on vacation. Work is important, but please tell Assistant Sam to contact me when I'm back at the office. You were about to hang up right after dropping that line, but Assistant Sam was so anxious his voice literally shook. Mr. Mason, you know CEO Lucy's temper. You definitely don't want her showing up at your house looking for you, do you? In short, your hand froze over the end call button. Knowing Lucy's explosive temper, that was 100% something she was capable of doing. After a long pause, you whispered, I understand. Compared to letting Lucy find your house and make a scene, why don't you just go to the company yourself? I'll also take this opportunity to pack up my things. Hanging up, you looked at Sophia sheepishly. Could you take me to the Lancaster family's company? The car cabin was dead silent. Only your voice echoed inside. Sophia quietly started the car. The black car sped through the streets. You watched the streetlights blur past. For some reason, you felt like Sophia was a bit angry. The atmosphere around her was completely different now. She was likely annoyed because of Lucy. After all, your past relationship with Lucy had caused a massive public uproar. After agreeing to be with Sophia, it was high time to say goodbye to the past and keep your distance. But on the exact day you got your marriage certificate, you were rushing back to the company to see Lucy. Sophia's dissatisfaction was completely understandable. You gripped your phone tightly and explained in a soft voice, I'm going to the Lancaster company for work. I can promise you from now on I will definitely keep my distance from Lucy. We will never tarnish the reputation of the Smith family. Sophia stared straight ahead, neither of you speaking a word, but you subtly noticed a tiny delicate line perfectly drawn at the corner of her eye. If you weren't paying close attention to her expression, you might not even have noticed. Holding your phone, you reminisced about your college days. Chloe's evaluation of Sophia echoed in your mind. A woman like Sophia Smith, normal on the surface, cold as an old nun, but actually has the purest eyes. She can be taken down with just a little effort. Back then, you didn't agree with Chloe's assessment at all, because the line of boys who chased Sophia during college could circle the campus 3 times over. But in 4 years, not a single guy managed to conquer this cold, academic genius. Now you were starting to believe it. She really did seem easy to coax. You walked into the lobby of the Lancaster family's building. The receptionist downstairs saw you coming and immediately stood up, pressing the elevator button for you. Director Mason, you're finally here. Assistant Sam has been asking for you repeatedly today. You nodded and smiled at the receptionist. I understand. Thanks for the message. Then you stepped straight into the elevator. The door slowly opened. You walked out. Assistant Sam was currently reprimanding a few junior assistants in the secretary's office. Hearing the elevator chime, he turned his head, his eyes lighting up. Mr. Mason, you're finally here. CEO Lucy is furious. She's in her office. You gave a soft, glancing at the crying assistants. You lifted your chin. What's going on? Assistant Sam explained in a hushed voice. Some of them leaked company secrets. CEO Lucy wants to pay them 3 months' salary and fire them. You can't convince me, you replied. The role of a presidential assistant, even if you hire new people on short notice, it won't be as efficient as keeping the experienced ones. Leave them alone. Do you think Ethan is going to rob the entire secretariat? How much weight does he actually pull? Assistant Sam definitely knew the truth best. Hearing this, he gave a forced smile. You know CEO Lucy's temper. I'm afraid I'll need your help to put in a good word for me on this. You shot Assistant Sam a meaningful look. They're just using you again, making you the scapegoat to bear Lucy's wrath. You didn't say another word, walking right past Assistant Sam and gently knocking on the president's office door. Even through the door, you could hear Lucy's furious roar from inside. Get out! You simply turned the doorknob. As soon as the door swung open, a coffee cup was hurled right at you. It landed right at your feet, shattering instantly. Warm coffee splashed onto your trouser legs, leaving ugly brown stains. You were so shocked by the sudden attack that you stumbled half a step back, balancing yourself against the doorframe. Seeing it was you, Lucy shot up from her chair, a flash of anxiety and regret crossing her eyes. Why is it you? Ethan, standing right next to her, noticed Lucy's expression. He quickly suppressed the slight schadenfreude in his heart, putting on a look of deep concern. Mr. Mason, are you okay? He affectionately grabbed your wrist, speaking softly. Sister Lucy is just in a bad mood today. It wasn't aimed at you. Please don't misunderstand. As he spoke, he adjusted his posture perfectly to expose the shiny new watch on his wrist. Hearing Ethan's words, Lucy immediately thought of your cold attitude and stubborn behavior over the past few days. The guilt in her eyes vanished completely. She slowly sat back down. Ethan, you can step out first. Ignore him. Ethan, hearing Lucy's command, obediently nodded. Just before leaving, from an angle Lucy couldn't see, he shot you a provocative glare. If Ethan usually greeted you like this, even if you maintained a calm facade, your heart would be aching fiercely. But now, after just a few days, Ethan's little performance was permanently seared into your mind as nothing but a joke. It could no longer cause even a ripple of emotion. The door closed behind him. You brushed the dust off your trouser leg, took a few steps forward and asked, How can I help you, CEO Lucy? Lucy closed her eyes and leaned back in her chair, massaging her temples. Exhausted from the past few days, She had zero energy left to deal with you. The joint project between the Lancasters and the Lewises has run into some issues. You probably know about this, right? You've always been in charge of the Lewis family projects. I'm handing this over to you. Do you have any objections? CEO Lucy, could you tell me first what exactly went wrong? If the problem falls under my jurisdiction, I certainly won't refuse. As soon as the words fell, you could clearly feel Lucy's aura freeze for a second. She dropped her massaging hands and looked up at you. The warehouse shipped the wrong items. It's not a big deal. Just call Mr. Lewis, ask for a little more time and I'll make sure to give him a satisfactory answer. After Lucy finished, she felt a wave of relief. With your intervention, the Lewis family wouldn't blow things out of proportion. At the very least, for the sake of the Miller family, Mr. Lewis wouldn't take it to the extreme or expose this to the public. The tension on Lucy's face eased, entirely convinced you wouldn't reject her request. However, you firmly shook your head. CEO Lucy is very busy with important matters. Perhaps you've forgotten. The warehouse is not under my jurisdiction. You should contact Manager Harry about this situation. If it were truly just a minor issue, Assistant Sam, and you wouldn't have been calling me like you were on your deathbeds. On the day of the engagement, Uncle Lewis had explicitly asked you if it was true that you and Lucy were dating. You could easily guess what Uncle Lewis was thinking. Lucy was definitely at fault, but he was also using this incident to make things incredibly difficult for her. Supporting you meant that at this critical juncture you absolutely could not step in for Lucy. It would only chill Uncle Lewis's heart. Lucy frowned. This project was originally your responsibility. What's wrong with asking you to solve the problem now that something went wrong? Besides, you know Harry doesn't understand anything. You stared at Lucy standing before you, the impatience clear on her face. As always, every time the two of you had a conflict, it was because Ethan's expression had changed. That's just how it was. Without a single shred of hesitation, they would dump all the blame right on your head. You suddenly realized how much you had endured over all these years. It was naive and utterly ridiculous. Then you actually burst out laughing. So even CEO Lucy knows that Harry doesn't understand anything? Then why was he given such a high position in the first place? Lucy's eyes widened, staring at you in absolute disbelief. Are you blaming me? I'm just asking you to make one phone call to Mr. Lewis. It's a tiny favor. Since when did you become so petty? I'm just stating the facts. When you wanted Harry to take over the warehouse, everyone advised you to think twice. It was you who abused your power for personal gain and acted unilaterally. When a mistake is made, the person responsible needs to face the consequences. I cannot help with this project. I came today simply to inform you. I no longer wish to hold the position of director of the business department at Lancaster. You were admitted to the company through a special recruitment program, entirely bypassing HR. If you wanted to leave right now, you didn't even need to submit a formal resignation letter. Just informing Lucy was enough. What did you just say? No more business department director? What do you want? CEO's secretary? After all these years, you're still obsessing over Ethan. You've taken every single opportunity to try and drive Ethan out of Lancaster. Mason, please, can we stop making a scene? I am genuinely so tired. You have everything. Why must we compete with Ethan? If I fire him to make room for you, how is he supposed to survive after this? Mason, just leave the Lancaster family out of it. Lucy sat there, her impatient expression completely frozen. Have you thought this through? Walking out is easy. Getting back in later will be very difficult. Ethan and I have never crossed any boundaries. How many times do I have to say it before you believe me? I've told you Ethan saved my life, so I treat him like a biological younger brother. You are my fiancé. You will still be my husband in the future. If you can't even understand this, even after we get married, our relationship will be hard to maintain. In CEO Lucy's opinion, what exactly constitutes crossing a boundary? You shot back. His job, the houses under my name, the cars, the clothes on his back, even his brother's job. Which one of those problems didn't you solve for him? Is it only considered crossing the line if you get caught red-handed in bed? Mason, Lucy roared. Don't push it. Push it? You actually have the nerve to say that? Are you afraid I'll say a few words? Over the years, all because of Ethan, how many times have you bailed on our dates over the phone? I'm afraid even I have lost count. Fiancé? Don't insult those 3 words. My sunny days and your sunshine. The moment you abandoned me to go to Shanghai to find Ethan, it was completely shattered. Having dropped the ultimate truth bomb, you turned and walked straight toward the door. Lucy watched your retreating back, the calmness in her eyes slowly cracking. A violent surge of panic suddenly rose within her. It felt like a massive boulder was lodged in her chest, suffocating her. She felt she should say something, feeling that this time you were being truly unreasonable, completely ignoring the big picture. But ultimately, she said nothing, helplessly watching your figure disappear from sight. The invisible fire in her heart almost burned her alive. She finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She swung her arm, sweeping everything off her desk onto the floor. A blue crystal strawberry bear pendant snapped in half as it hit the ground. The curve of the bear's head seemed perfectly frozen in a mocking sneer. Assistant Sam stepped out from outside the door, offering a forced smile. Mr. Mason, have you settled the issue with CEO Lucy? You replied softly. It's settled. I've dealt with Lucy. With that, you walked past Assistant Sam, heading toward the elevator. Assistant Sam quickly caught up. Did you mention the assistant's issue to CEO Lucy? Under Assistant Sam's watchful eyes and the cautious glares from the assistants, you raised your hand and pressed the elevator button. No, Assistant Sam, whether it's an issue with the warehouse or the secretariat, none of it has anything to do with me anymore. From now on, anything involving the Lancaster family is not my problem. I've resigned. Assistant Sam felt like his brain had short-circuited. Why would Mr. Mason resign? He was going to be the male patriarch of the Lancaster family in the future. Where could he possibly go after leaving the Lancasters? Before Assistant Sam could process it, the elevator doors opened with a ding. Chloe stepped out, holding her phone. With everyone staring at you, she sarcastically sneered. Oh, Mr. Mason finally decided to grace the company with his presence. You didn't even glance at her. Stepping straight into the elevator. Right until the doors closed, you just shot Chloe a flat look. She stomped her foot in anger. Look at him. He's not even Sister Lucy's husband yet. Why is he so arrogant? Sooner or later, he's going to destroy whatever feelings Sister Lucy has left for him. He always walks around with that holier-than-thou face. He's no fun at all. No wonder Sister Lucy ditched him for Ethan. Only after shouting did she realize the entire rooftop was eerily silent. Belatedly, she sensed something was wrong. Turning around, she saw Assistant Sam looking unusually dazed. Several assistants had red eyes, tears streaming down their cheeks. They were sobbing. Only Ethan seemed relatively normal, his expression a mix of surprise and sheer joy. Chloe leaned in close to Assistant Sam, waving her hand in front of his face. What's going on? What happened? You all look like you've seen a ghost. Assistant Sam brushed Chloe's hand away, a hint of panic in his voice. Mr. Mason resigned. Chloe's face slowly stiffened, the previously relaxed and joyful atmosphere completely vaporizing. Sister Lucy, she. Assistant Sam mechanically pointed toward the CEO's office. The moment Chloe stepped into the president's office, she was greeted by absolute chaos. Everything on the desk had been swept onto the floor. Even that familiar blue crystal pendant, which was normally kept so carefully, was snapped in half. One piece had flown south, the other north. In all these years, this was the very first time she had seen Sister Lucy this enraged. Chloe really wanted to run away, but she couldn't. She carefully stepped over the broken glass. Sister Lucy, Mason is gone. What about the Lewis family? Hearing this, Lucy raised her bloodshot eyes. Why does even you think I can't survive without him? Chloe shook her head and exclaimed in surprise. No, how is that possible? It's obvious Mason can't live without you, Sister Lucy. The problem is, the Lewis family's project can't wait. One of our 3 days is already gone. Where are we going to find $800 million? Why don't you just accept the situation for now? Go convince him to come back first. You can teach him a lesson after you've dealt with the Lewis family. Lucy picked up her jacket and hurled it at Chloe. Get out! Roll out of here! She screamed repeatedly. The intense look on her face was all Chloe's fault. The banter actually managed to lighten the mood significantly. He said that from the moment I went to Shanghai to find Ethan, our connection was completely severed. Impossible! Chloe laughed. I bet you anything it won't even take 3 days before he sneaks back home. Judging from his tough act just now, I thought he'd actually accomplished something. Turns out he's just still jealous of Ethan. Chloe's words clearly pleased Lucy. She closed her eyes and leaned back on the sofa, the bloodshot redness in her eyes slowly fading. Seeing Lucy's expression completely calm down, Chloe suggested, should we issue a notice to expel Ethan and Harry? President Lewis always treated Mason like a little brother. He acted so decisively this time. He must be really dissatisfied with the Yi brothers over this incident. The most important thing right now is to appease the Lewis family, even if we quietly bring Ethan back later. Let's just solve the urgent problem first. Chloe had brought this up from the very beginning. Deep down she had feelings for Ethan and wasn't entirely thrilled with his useless brother. Sister Lucy had done more than enough for them. Harry actually dared to interfere with company business. If they didn't teach them a lesson now, who knows what disasters they'd cause in the future. Every time she heard Harry's name, Lucy couldn't help but shake her head in despair. Expulsion isn't enough. Make him spit out everything he swallowed, then make him work as a security guard. Chloe nodded. And Ethan, ultimately he is the root of this entire mess. If Ethan hadn't been pampered and spoiled, his brother would never have gotten into the Lancaster family in the first place, let alone have the audacity to forge data on a massive amount of company goods. Lucy pondered for a moment. This has nothing to do with Ethan. I will find a way to resolve this situation. Didn't Mason leave the company out of jealousy over Ethan? I am determined to use Ethan to teach him a lesson about his temper. Chloe looked at Lucy, knowing her stubborn streak was flaring up again. She intentionally wants to compete with you. She always does this. When you don't get what you want, you voluntarily back down. But this time is different. Chloe was about to analyze the pros and cons for Lucy, but Lucy raised her hand to stop her. Get out. Down in the business department. You were packing up your things. Your workspace was packed, but as you started clearing it out, you realized almost everything belonged to the company. The only things that were truly yours were a water cup and a box of drip coffee. You casually tossed them into the trash. Using your key to unlock a drawer, you pulled out a document, This was something you had specifically asked your brother for ages ago, long before the engagement. It was a newly acquired project, a gift you had prepared for Lucy, which was now completely useless. You fed the document into the shredder, watching it get destroyed piece by piece. The sales staff approached with confused expressions. Director Mason, why did you throw away your cup? I've resigned. A new director will be here to guide you soon. I can't stand overly dramatic goodbyes, so no need to see me out. Saying that, you headed toward the elevator. Just as you turned the corner, you saw Ethan in a custom-tailored suit, waiting patiently by the elevator doors like a smug sausage. His eyes were full of complex, arrogant triumph. Mason, you lost. So what if you were born into a noble family? So what if you're handsome? You've been by Lucy's side for so long, and in the end, you're just a discarded blanket. Now you're facing the pathetic consequence of being kicked out of the company. You stared at Ethan standing before you. Time really does change people. Take Ethan, for example, or Lucy. Did you wait here just to say this to me? I lost, sure, but I didn't lose to you. I only lost to Lucy's ridiculous arrogance and her inherent flaws. She loves the convenience your status brings her. On one hand, I feel she has given too much, making her look useless, like a silk flower that can only rely on you. So she started promoting Ethan. She accepted his gentleness with a calm demeanor, deliberately using Ethan, using your options, to look down on you from a higher pedestal. The so-called life-saving grace was just an excuse she used to dodge your questions. Stuck in her fundamental principles, she loves no one. She only loves herself. Losing to someone else, you have nothing to say. You looked at Ethan, standing in front of you. It was like watching Lucy act out a scene from the past, self-manipulation at its finest. You graduated from a prestigious university too. You should have had a bright future. Why waste your precious youth on a woman who isn't worth it? Ethan used to be a very smart, hard-working boy. Otherwise, making it from a remote mountain village to northern Beijing through exams would be impossible. Since when did this type of man become globally recognized as good-looking? Even Assistant Sam knew the Secretariat had fired those assistants. Ethan simply couldn't endure it anymore. Had he still not realized the problem? During his time at the Lancaster family, he hadn't improved at all. In fact, he had regressed. Even his previously sharp academic abilities had deteriorated. If Lucy genuinely cared about him, he wouldn't have become a mere punching bag. Useless, good for nothing. Ethan's expression stiffened. His face suddenly looked extremely ugly. Mason, it's just the two of us here. Who are you trying to fool with this? I'm doing this for your own good act. You're the young master of the Miller family. With the Millers backing you, you can stand on your high horse and look at me like an ant. Because no matter how many mistakes you make, there's always someone to protect you. But what about me? I have nothing. I have no choice but to fight and grab what I can, shamelessly. Besides, you're the one leaving the Lancaster family. I don't need your pity. I've always known what I want. Good luck to you. After leaving the Lancaster building, you stood under the shade of a tree by the road, waiting. Before long, a blindingly red Ferrari pulled up to the curb. Wyatt, sitting in the driver's seat, took off his sunglasses and waved at you. Hey, handsome, waiting for someone? Hop in for a ride, little bro. You opened the passenger door and got in. Bad mood. Let's go to the mall and blow off some steam. Wyatt didn't ask any questions. He casually tossed his sunglasses into the back seat, morphed into a speed demon and hit the gas. The handsome guy sat up straight, gripping the handle. My bro is moving on! We went to the mall and shopped till we dropped! Your mood was indeed much better. Afterwards, they took Wyatt to eat hot pot. He dropped some blanched beef tripe onto your plate. Talk to me, what the hell? From sophomore year onwards, almost everything in your closet was dark-colored. You were completely sealed off like a monk. Why the sudden breakthrough today? You chewed the beef tripe and explained softly, I used to wear those clothes to cater to Lucy's taste. It's no longer necessary. Wyatt snorted twice. The reputation of university goddess Sophia is truly well-deserved. You guys just got engaged and she's already done so much for you. Cured your years of obsessive lovesickness. He leaned in a little closer, covering his mouth with his hand. How far have you guys progressed? How is she? Is she a C or an E? You were in the middle of swallowing, and Wyatt's words almost made you choke. Could you please not speak in such a creepy tone? Sophia and I have nothing going on. Don't spout nonsense. If anyone hears us, they'll think we're both perverts. The great ancestor Wyatt reacted even more strongly than you did. Sophia even posted the marriage certificate on Weibo. And you're still saying there's nothing between you two? Are you saying that after getting married, you guys are going to live separately? How is that any different from becoming a monk? We haven't discussed that yet. I'm not that familiar with her. Living together like this is just weird. It's already weird enough that two people who barely know each other got married so fast. It's even weirder for newlyweds who don't really know each other to live together. Wyatt really couldn't tell who was the bigger idiot right now. So you two are living apart after marriage? Isn't this basically broadcasting to everyone that your marriage is fake? You stared at the chopsticks in your hand, zoning out. Wyatt's question actually stumped you. Yeah, Sophia's first marriage. Wasn't it just to reassure her grandma and business partners? If it was discovered that you were living apart, wasn't this just a massive fail? You looked at Wyatt with a blank expression. But living together without being a real married couple is pretty much the same. It's embarrassing that you even have to bring this up. Wyatt looked at you with a mix of disappointment and frustration. Obviously, Sophia can't bring this up herself. You need to guide her. Give her a little nudge. You were just about to ask Wyatt to explain further when a message popped up on your phone. It was from Sophia, the very main character you were discussing. Are you off work? You didn't drive today. I'll come pick you up. You glanced at the time, 12 p.m. She must have just gotten off work and immediately texted you. I've settled the issue with the Lancaster family. I'm having lunch with Wyatt. He'll drive me home later. Okay, have fun. Text me to let me know when you get home safely. You stared at Sophia's 2 messages for a long time, so not all women were cold and oblivious. Even someone like Sophia could realize, you didn't drive home yourself? Is that inconvenient? I know you hang out with your friends, so they'll remind you to tell them you got home safe. So, when you were sick, did you drive yourself to the hospital for an IV drip? In the middle of the night, Lucy abandoned you by the road to catch a taxi. What was the point of those nights spent waiting at home? You had been blind. Even though you were unemployed, Wyatt still had a whole company to run. Taking the morning off to hang out with you was already his limit. So after lunch, I'll drop you home. Then I'm heading back to the office to slave away, Wyatt said. You sent a message to Sophia, including a photo of your cactus. Caption: arrived home. It's so nice to be back. Sophia quoted the picture. I love cacti. I don't like other plants. This is the only cactus I've managed to keep alive. I've tried growing lots of green plants, even famously unkillable ones like pothos and hyacinths. I killed 3 of the easiest to care for breeds. Only the cactus survived. You regretted saying that a second later. Previously, you had kept potted plants in Lucy's office for 3 years. Eventually, she banned you from touching any plants in her room. You wondered if Sophia was secretly judging you. Sophia, is it really that amazing? I suddenly have a strong urge to recruit you to our rival company. You wouldn't even need to do anything else, just plant 3 money trees of each type. Thanks! Sophia, are you free in the next few days? Remember that game I told you about after we got our marriage certificate? Today is the first day. If you have time, we can start tonight. If not, 2 days late is fine too. I have time, we can start tonight. What do you need to prepare? Sophia, standing before the massive floor-to-ceiling windows of her CEO office, looked at the message on her phone. She slowly typed a few words. No need to prepare anything. I have all kinds of equipment there. Just show up. I'll pick you up at 6. That works perfectly. But I want to make it clear up front. I really don't like playing games. Sophia stepped down into the trench. I'm here, don't worry. During the few days you were participating in the gaming event, Lucy was having a miserable time. After you resigned, Lucy's stubborn temper flared up again. To prove that she could manage perfectly fine without you, she listed all her backup assets, houses and cars for sale. Because she desperately needed to raise funds, she spent the entire day contacting buyers. Everyone tried to exploit the situation to rip her off. For 3 miles around, not a single item was sold all day. Initially, Chloe planned to contact Wyatt, hoping he would buy those properties and cars at market price first. They could buy them back once they had enough capital. After all, he and Mason are super close. Once you and Sister Lucy get married, won't all of Sister Lucy's family assets belong to you? Helping them is basically helping yourself. Surprisingly, this boy didn't even give her a chance to speak. Chloe sighed. If I knew this was going to happen, I wouldn't have made things so tense with her in the first place. She didn't even have a private way to contact him. Everyone else in the company had already gotten off work. Chloe picked up her phone to check the time, but immediately saw a push notification. God-tier Sophia and her husband's sweet livestream. Chloe held a cup of coffee. A hint of doubt flashed in her eyes. Sophia Smith, didn't she retire from esports? She casually glanced at the copy and clicked to open the attached video. The streamer didn't show her face. But amidst the noise and barrage of bullets, it was obvious the streamer was Sophia. Her gameplay was basic, but she explained it in excruciating detail. Without a hint of impatience, at the end of the video she asked softly, "Do you remember?" A familiar warm male voice replied with a beep. "I remember." Chloe heard this male voice and almost choked, coffee flooding her lungs. Coughing violently, she thought, that voice sounds exactly like Mason. I must have heard it wrong. The second video posted was from another livestream, from the boy's perspective. This video was also quite long. He didn't speak much, just a few sentences. Really? Thanks. I have a smoke grenade. I blocked the view ahead. Follow me. I can't play well. Buy smoke grenades when there are lots of people around. It's safer to escape. But isn't the rule of this game, the last one standing is the winner? This is your first time winning a chicken dinner. With just those few words, Chloe listened to it over and over again. The more she listened, the more it sounded exactly like you. But how could that be possible? That was Sophia Smith! Not to mention you and Sophia had absolutely zero connection, but when it came to family background, the Miller family and the Smith family were worlds apart. The Smith family would definitely be very interested in you. Chloe thought to herself, trembling uncontrollably. She reflected on recent events. She got the cold shoulder when she delivered the guest list to the Miller house. You lost contact for days and wouldn't even answer Sister Lucy's calls. On the engagement day, you knew Sister Lucy was coming back, yet you held the engagement on schedule, left without waiting for her, refused to contact the Lewis family to buy time, and unhesitatingly resigned from the Lancaster family. Each of these things individually seemed like a fit of rage, but connected together, they revealed something fundamentally abnormal. You used to like Sister Lucy so much. I've been jealous before, but you've never been this angry. And you aren't someone who blurs the lines between public and private matters. You never brought personal feelings into work. This time the Lewis family had such a huge issue, yet you refused to help. With things escalating to this point, are you really just throwing a tantrum? Chloe suddenly felt very uneasy. She swallowed hard, staring at her phone. No, I need to discuss this with Sister Lucy. Chloe turned around, phone in hand, and stopped. Several junior assistants in the CEO's office had been fired. The lights in the secretariat were still on, but it was completely empty. The door to the president's office wasn't fully closed. You could faintly hear Lucy sulking. Chloe went right in and showed Lucy the video. Lucy's face went from pale to flushed red. What do you mean by showing me this? Do you think this guy is Mason? Lucy sneered. He's been following me around for over 10 years. He was finally about to marry me. How could I possibly give up? Absolutely impossible. Chloe looked at Lucy, her fingertips almost snapping off the armrest. I didn't say it was Mason, she told herself. Can't you recognize him yourself? But she didn't dare say it to Lucy's face. I just accidentally clicked on the video below. Sister Lucy, I know this can't be Mason, but this Mr. Smith's voice sounds exactly like Mason. If you don't believe me, watch the video. It's not just the voice. The skill level of a complete gaming noob is exactly the same. Lucy took a deep breath. Her fingertips trembled as she opened the video. This time her eyes were glued to the screen. I wish I could bring that man in the white suit with me. She analyzed every step of the process. Watching him, she saw a flashbang and 2 grenades. Using a smoke grenade to clear the path, he excitedly told Sophia it was his first time eating chicken. Lucy calmly delivered her verdict. This is not Mason. Chloe looked confused. Lucy casually tossed the phone onto the desk. I accidentally touched the screen. I deleted this Weibo account. Then I saw this. Who is Miss Smith's mysterious husband? This blogger posted a list of Smith's recent collaborative projects, along with the results and evidence after screening. In the end, Wyatt and Michael were selected. Wyatt was more active and got the most votes. Michael is quite low-key. He got a few thousand fewer votes than Wyatt. Lucy suddenly seemed to regain her confidence. Her tense nerves relaxed significantly. See? I knew it couldn't be Mason. Chloe picked up her phone and posted this article on Weibo. I watched the video twice from start to finish. She muttered, Mason and Sophia are definitely impossible. It's not Mason and it can't be Wyatt's music. This voice sounds nothing like Wyatt. Lucy tapped her fingers on the desk. It must be Michael. Michael studied abroad during high school. He's lived a very low-key life since returning to China. He almost never appears in public. However, the Smith family and the Ming family are old friends. If Sophia wanted an arranged marriage, the chances of it being Michael are very high. Chloe still felt something was off, but she couldn't explain it. I'm overthinking it. Lucy ignored Chloe's endless nagging. She grabbed her coat and walked to the door. She wanted to go back and see if you were home. When she finally snapped back to reality, she was already standing at your front door. She stared at the doorbell, her hand hovering right over it. She raised her hand again and again, but just couldn't bring herself to press it. If I press this, what's the difference between you bowing your head and me? Why should I be the one to bow my head? You like me more. You've chased me for over a decade. I already agreed to marry you. What more do you want? Lucy laughed foolishly. You were the one who didn't answer the phone. You were the one who wanted to break up. You were the one who resigned. If I bow my head today, won't you just become even more arrogant and ungrateful later? Lucy suddenly withdrew her hand, turned around, and went back to her own house. She knew something was wrong. She felt like she had a fever. In a daze, she opened the drawer of her nightstand and took out a box of fever-reducing medicine. She opened it only to realize she had finished it last time. You had been busy preparing for your engagement, and then your relationship had soured, so you didn't have time to restock it. Lucy frowned and casually tossed the empty box into the trash. A wave of dizziness hit her, making her lightheaded. She sat down next to the railing, leaning against it. Her head was spinning, and she didn't even know when she lost consciousness. She fainted right on the floor. Lucy frowned in pain, raising her hand. Her forehead was throbbing. It took her a long time to slowly open her eyes. The first thing she saw was a nurse wearing a mask. She was hooked up to another eye drip in a single patient room. Aside from her, there was no one else in the room. Only the nurse noticed her gaze and patiently explained, "The friend who brought you here went to buy you some food. It's low sugar but high in calories." Lucy pursed her pale lips. Hearing that the person who brought her went out for food, a brilliant light flashed in her eyes. She had fainted at home around that time. It must have been you who found her. You pretended to ignore my calls and threatened to break up, but then you sneaked into my house in the middle of the night. Deep down you still have feelings for me. You just did it to force me to bow my head. Otherwise, how would you have found me fainted on the floor? Thinking about this, Lucy's lonely corner of the world felt a bit brighter. A faint smile appeared on her face. She had made her decision. She was just waiting for you to return with the food. If you're willing to speak politely and apologize, I'll act like nothing happened. The wedding would go on as planned, and the position of business director at Lancaster would still be yours. Lost in her happy thoughts, Chloe walked in from outside, holding takeout food. Sister Lucy, you're awake. You scared me to death last night. Luckily, I was quick-witted. I noticed something was off with your face at the company, so I intentionally followed you. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. She was talking to herself, completely oblivious to the fact that the patient's face had turned so dark it looked like it was dripping ink. Finally, Chloe realized Lucy was angry again. She gripped the spoon in her hand, groaning inwardly. Why is Sister Lucy so hard to please? Did they bring her to the wrong hospital? Lucy propped herself up and sat up. Chloe stared at her dumbly. What about him? Did he not come? Chloe was stunned for a second before she reacted, stuttering. Mason doesn't know you're unwell. That's what it means. But Chloe felt you were becoming increasingly unpredictable. Even if you knew Sister Lucy had a fever, you probably wouldn't come. But she didn't dare say that. She could only use he doesn't know to pacify Lucy. Lucy's face looked much better. Right, you've always been highly disciplined. I got home early yesterday morning, so you were probably well rested. You didn't know. Otherwise, with your capabilities, you would have flown here ages ago. Lucy reached over and yanked out her IV needle, picking up her jacket from beside her. Ignoring the slight bleeding from the puncture mark, she strode out. Before leaving, she even grabbed a fever-cooling patch from the ward. Chloe seriously suspected she might have gone crazy from the fever. Going back to the company now, besides making a sick person take time off, it makes no sense other than worsening her condition. Who else could pity and help her now? A 100 million yuan deficit that couldn't be filled. You used to be such a great trader, and now? Chloe sighed. She quickly matched Lucy's pace. Inside the car, Lucy sat in the back seat and applied the fever-cooling patch. Stick it on the most noticeable spot on your forehead, she thought. She knew every department in the company had its own little gossip group. You had a few of them on your phone, and she had seen you secretly reading the group chats. You didn't know I was sick? Well, then I'll give you a chance to find out. I've already laid out the steps. If you still hold your head high and refuse to lower your stance, it won't be easy to turn back later. Patch applied, Lucy picked up her phone and opened Weibo. She didn't even need to search for it. Posts about Sophia Smith were incredibly easy to find. 2 more instances popped up following the 2 from yesterday. Wyatt had personally spoken out to refute the rumors. God, Sophia's mysterious husband turns out to be someone else. A childhood photo of Sophia and Michael had gone viral, sparking a wave of people shipping them as a couple. Lucy had known for a long time that Wyatt couldn't possibly be Sophia's husband, so she clicked directly on the second post. Someone claiming to be a wealthy second-generation heir, who attended kindergarten with Sophia, had posted a childhood photo of her, along with group photos and videos of him and Michael as trainee MCs. Wyatt had proactively denied the rumors, and the online voting had just started. Immediately, a rich heir who knew Sophia stepped up to reveal the truth. Netizens universally assumed it was a reference to that specific person. God, Sophia's mysterious husband is Michael. Suddenly, the internet was flooded with comments shipping them. The Ming Company was also a top-tier enterprise in the domestic industry. A marriage alliance with the Smith family could definitely be considered a powerful union. Lucy casually scrolled through a few comments. Finally, the tension in her mind eased a bit. After exiting Weibo, she opened the Green Bubble app. Her phone was full of new messages, most of them from Ethan. They were just boring nonsense. She didn't even glance at them, searching for your green bubble at the bottom. Nothing. After leaving the city for Shanghai, you hadn't sent her a single message. Lucy stared at the profile picture that looked like a tooth. The car parked in the lot. Lucy didn't take the private presidential elevator directly from the basement. Instead, she intentionally took a detour through the company's main entrance. Entering through the main gate, the receptionists at Lancaster were all young girls. Because of the easy job and prime location, it was basically the epicenter of all Lancaster family gossip. Whatever they noticed, no matter how subtle, was guaranteed to spread throughout the entire company within half an hour. Lucy had a very conspicuous cooling patch on her forehead. She strolled leisurely past the front desk. Sure enough, right before the elevator doors closed, she overheard the receptionists whispering behind her. Was that a cooling patch on CEO Lucy's head? Sick? I've worked here for over 2 years, and this is the first time I've seen CEO Lucy get sick. Mr. Mason's resignation seems to be a major issue. It's had a huge impact on CEO Lucy. Of course it did. They grew up together after all. Naturally, some people who just jumped in halfway aren't as good as them. Even though I understand Mr. Mason's feelings, CEO Lucy also looks pretty pitiful. Lucy headed up to the top floor, satisfied. Their hospital stay had caused a delay. Ethan and Assistant Sam had already arrived. Without the help of a few assistants, Assistant Sam was so busy he felt like he was flying. They didn't even realize when she had arrived. Ethan, standing to the side, rarely did any actual work. But that leisurely pace, Chloe frowned watching him. She used to think Ethan was gentle and understanding. Mason is 1,000, no, 10,000 times better than this cold guy who doesn't know how to have fun, she thought. But ever since Ethan messed everything up, she realized your good points. Graduating from the same university in northern Beijing, you didn't just witness things, your abilities and vision far exceeded Ethan's. This could even pave the way for Lucy's future career. Ethan seemed gentle and obedient, but in reality it was just a family outing. A parasite clinging to Lucy and sucking her dry. Out of respect for Lucy's feelings, Chloe ultimately said nothing. Ethan saw Lucy and Chloe approaching and asked with a concerned face, "Sister Lucy, are you sick? How serious is it?" Lucy's gloomy expression softened significantly. "I'm fine, just have something on my mind." Not wanting to deal with Ethan, she walked right past him and straight into her office. Ethan watched Lucy's retreating back. Her indifferent attitude flashed him a hint of disappointment, but he quickly regained his composure. He grabbed the bento box he had prepared earlier and brought it into the office. Honestly, Lucy almost never ate boxed lunches. She felt the taste degraded if the food sat too long, but her stomach was really acting up. To take care of her health, you had specifically arranged for someone to be on standby in the CEO office's rest area, a simple kitchenette separated from the other rooms. "I come to cook for her an hour early every day," you used to say. Ethan had been by Lucy's side for quite some time now, even stepping right through her front door. Yet only you were allowed in that kitchen. The lunchbox he brought today was to remind Lucy, if he doesn't want to cook for you, there are plenty of others willing to do it. I know she doesn't like food that spoils easily if left out, so he specifically prepared a cold fruit and vegetable salad. Ethan eagerly brought his carefully prepared bento box inside. He saw Lucy standing in front of her desk, deep in thought. On the desk in front of her was something incredibly childish, a cheap crystal pendant. Last time Lucy had smashed it in half in a fit of rage. Now they had glued it back together. Ethan's fingertips, gripping the lunchbox, turned slightly white from the force. "I've practically exhausted all my strength." A look of deep jealousy flashed in his eyes. A gentle smile appeared on his face. "Sister Lucy, you haven't eaten anything yet, have you? This is a salad I made myself. Try it and see if it's good." Meanwhile, regarding the news of the general manager of the business department resigning and the CEO coming to work sick, rumors were spreading like wildfire in all the company's gossip groups. A young guy in the finance office saw the messages in the group. He let out a goofy laugh, opened his phone and made a call. "I have good news to report to you." In the courtyard, the alarm clock went off. If you were at home, you definitely would have stayed in bed a bit longer. But waking up too late at Sophia's house felt a bit impolite. You opened your eyes, stared at the ceiling and snapped out of your daze. You grabbed your phone, opened the Green Bubble app and glanced at your coworkers' messages. However, the business departments weren't blocked. The group messages were flying by incredibly fast. Curious, you clicked on it. "I just went out to get water. I heard the department next door saying the esteemed young master of the Miller family was forced out by Ethan, a country bumpkin, stupid as a 3-year-old. I'm so mad." Ignore those immoral idiots. They're just jealous of our department's past achievements. "We were just eating meat with Director Mason." I don't want to think about the project Director Mason discontinued. "They couldn't even afford soup." Ungrateful jerks. This makes me sad. I feel completely insecure without Mason's protection. Why wasn't Ethan the one who left? The receptionist said CEO Lucy came in today with a fever patch on her head. I don't know if it's because of Director Mason. Hopefully, CEO Lucy and Director Mason can end their Cold War soon. There's something I'm not sure if I should say. Did any of you watch the live streams? I think God Sophia's mysterious behavior last night was due to another reason. Her husband's voice sounded exactly like Director Mason. Impossible! Others might not know, but our sales department hasn't heard anything. How much does Director Mason adore CEO Lucy? There's no way to guarantee consistency for the following. When you saw them talking about you and Lucy, you felt embarrassed that your dark past was being dragged up again. Did they forget you were still in the group chat? You quietly exited the group and went to wash your face. As for whether Lucy went to work sick, you'd already completely forgotten about it. You thought you woke up early enough, but surprisingly, Sophia was already busy in the kitchen. And breakfast was almost ready. Hearing footsteps, she turned her head. "Breakfast is ready." Limited skills, don't be disgusted. During the meal, you wanted to ask her several times. Why didn't they ask Michael when they needed a fake marriage? But every time you were about to speak, you quietly swallowed the words. Sophia, however, saw right through all your little tricks. She gave you the chance to ask boldly. "Explain. Ask me whatever you want." You stopped chewing, staring at her with wide eyes. I wonder if this person can read minds, you thought. She didn't elaborate, just offered a gentle reminder. "You have 3 minutes. Not asking a question will be considered an automatic waiver of your rights." You carefully weighed your words and finally asked, "You and Michael grew up together. Back then, people needed someone to fake a marriage. Why not try finding Michael? It was you who was drunk and stopped her first." But she had every reason to refuse. You had no other choice, but she had plenty of options. Looking back, you still felt like you were dreaming about what happened that night. She easily signed a prenup that gave her 0 benefits. Was she not afraid you were just a gold digger trying to get close to her? Sophia thought for a moment and answered carefully. "I'm not familiar with Michael. We were just kindergarten classmates. As for why I chose you, if I told you that night wasn't a coincidence, would you believe it?" Meanwhile, in the CEO's office on the top floor of the Lancaster Group, Ethan was holding his lunchbox. Ignored and left standing in place, he looked at the woman sitting behind the desk with a pitiful expression. Lucy was tightly clutching the broken doll in her hands, staring at the phone on her desk. Her face was gloomy. Half an hour had passed. Still no news from you. Lucy took a deep breath, grabbing Chloe's phone. Without a word, she opened the Green Bubble app. Contact the business department, she thought. She hadn't even had the chance to open it when the office door was pushed open. When Lucy saw who it was Felix. Lucy's childhood friend. Another financial manager. Felix was Lucy's biggest rival in inheriting the family business. His people arriving right now was definitely not a good sign. Chloe spoke up first. Didn't the deputy manager's family teach him how to knock? Felix, holding a file, wasn't angry. I heard CEO Lucy got sick because of Director Mason's situation. I just came to check on her. Hearing the title, Director Mason, Lucy's scalp almost exploded. If she was a fire extinguisher right now, were you the one who ignited the flames of passion in her? That bastard Felix was definitely plotting something evil. A vein popped on Lucy's forehead. Now you know. Can we leave now? Felix wasn't intimidated by the three women and took a few steps forward. Let me take a closer look, full of energy. The wound seems to have almost healed. He patted his chest mockingly. Then I can rest easy. He pushed the documents in his hand forward. This is the project that won the bid last time. Please sign it. Lucy picked up the document he handed her. It was the project they had visited in Shanghai last time. A proposal for 1.5 billion in funding. Compensating the Lewis family was desperately needed. Where the hell was she supposed to get 1.5 billion now? He was the financial manager. Didn't he know if the company accounts had enough money? Lucy closed the file. I remember this project wasn't supposed to start until 2 months later. Buy it now. Felix looked completely innocent. Isn't Madam too impatient? Is it because the old man is worried? He just called me. I came immediately. Lucy and Chloe's expressions changed simultaneously. Felix's gaze almost pierced right through her. The old man had bypassed them and contacted Felix directly. She must definitely know about the Miller family's situation. That old man already had a hardened heart. Now that we know they've encountered such a huge problem, the consequences will be absolutely terrifying. Felix held out his hand, pushing the stack of documents closer to Lucy. CEO Lucy, please sign. This was happening after Lucy took over the Lancaster family. The first time she was humiliated, it was when someone shoved it right in her face. But his reasoning was entirely justified, and the old man was still hanging on. We can't do anything to him, she realized. Lucy flipped open the file, picked up a pen and signed her name boldly. Throwing it back at Felix, she spat, "Pack your things and leave." A cold smile appeared on Felix's face. CEO Lucy, you should control your temper. The Lancaster family is about to change its lifestyle. Originally, she was the protector of the Miller family's second young master. That stance was firmly held, but she insisted on causing trouble for herself, ultimately creating a massive mess. Felix made 2 sounds, turning his head to look at Ethan, who was standing to the side with a pale face, acting like he was invisible. He raised his hand and gave a thumbs up without hesitation. You two brothers are truly talented. The marriage between the Millers and the Lancasters is ruined, and one agreement destroyed the partnership between Lucy and the Lewis family. Felix took a few steps away but suddenly remembered the Weibo post he'd seen. He turned back, leaning close to Lucy's ear, and whispered a reminder. Don't blame your brother for not warning you. Check Weibo. My house got broken into. Why so arrogant? After he left, a wave of anger and anxiety surged in Lucy's heart. A country wedding? Impossible. How could he marry someone else? At this moment, Chloe walked over, phone in hand. Her voice trembled. Sister Lucy, it's true. Mason, they actually got married. Lucy stared at the photo on the screen. It was a cute picture of you and Sophia. All the comments and likes on the Weibo post belonged to the company's official account. She felt like the whole world was mocking her. Her mind was a mess, unable to believe it. Chloe saw this and hesitated. Sister Lucy. Wyatt also posted on Weibo. It's been confirmed. She didn't want to believe it, but reason told her it was all true. Mason, the man who used to love her with all his heart, had actually married someone else. Lucy felt as if she had just plunged into an ice cave. She leaned weakly against the desk. Everything collapsed in that single moment. The moment she saw the Weibo post, the proposal scene suddenly flashed in her mind. That vast field of buck roses, they were actually her favorite flower. Simple but passionate, just like you. It was all just to cater to her preferences at the time. That bold color, never again. Has it ever appeared in your life? She remembered the crystal clear scene she saw that day. She hadn't even thought about it right away. Even on the originally planned engagement day, those flowers were all white roses, her favorite. She still remembered Sophia's Weibo. Those roses were there too. She owns a rose farm full of deer, she recalled. Lucy held her phone, her fingertips trembling. Considering deer for our engagement day, it was highly likely Sophia planted them herself. Past events were still vividly etched in her mind. It sent a chill down her spine. All these years, Sophia was everywhere. She had a brain. It was all for you. Sophia had actually had her eyes on you for a long time. She lurked in the shadows, just waiting for this exact day. Thinking about this possibility, Lucy felt a cold chill run down her spine. Having a rival like Sophia, that was indeed terrifying. Looking at the 9 photos on Weibo, from the moment you started doing your makeup until the end of the engagement, every step was documented. The date the Weibo post was published matched perfectly too. Lucy's eyes were glued to the person in the middle, you and Sophia looking at each other. Even through the screen, she could feel Sophia's deep affection for you. Lucy sneered. No wonder he didn't wait for her to come back. No wonder he didn't answer calls or texts. No wonder he resigned so confidently. So you had already prepared an escape route. Lucy felt a cold gust of air creep into her heart, her limbs stiff. She said firmly, I'm going to see him. She wanted to talk to you face to face and clear everything up. She strode toward the door, leaving behind only Ethan gritting his teeth in the shadows. On the other side, you were sitting in the car, watching the vehicles speed past the window. The words Sophia just said were still echoing in your head. If I told you that night wasn't a coincidence, would you believe it? You completely misunderstood the meaning of this sentence. You completely misunderstood the meaning of this sentence. Because if Wyatt hadn't been in Paris that day, you wouldn't have gone to the bar alone, right? Even the location was randomly picked by you. How could it not be a coincidence? While you were lost in thought, your phone suddenly vibrated. You received an unusual message. Lucy knows about your marriage, Mason. I'm coming to find you. You looked out the window and saw the Lancaster Group building. Feeling uncomfortable, it was obvious Ethan wasn't helping you out of the goodness of his heart. He just wanted you to avoid running into Lucy. But you were already approaching the Lancaster building. An encounter was unavoidable. You had no intention of avoiding her anyway. You got married openly and honestly. Why should you avoid your ex-girlfriend like you were stealing a moment of happiness? This was also a good opportunity to seize. Make everything perfectly clear to Lucy. Say a final goodbye to more than 10 years of your youth. However, just as you were finally ready to break the news to Sophia, the car was cut off by another vehicle. The sudden hard braking jerked the car forward. Fortunately, you had your seatbelts on. Sophia looked at you with concern. You shook your head to signal you were okay. Chloe knew that Lucy had lost her mind a bit, but she didn't expect her to be this crazy. She grabbed the steering wheel and smashed right into Sophia's car. Luckily, Sophia wasn't driving too fast, avoiding a more serious accident. The moment you saw Lucy stepping out of the opposing car, you instantly recognized her. A tingling sensation washed over your scalp. A fiery rage erupted in your mind. She almost hit Sophia. The thought of Sophia almost getting hit by a car, your rational mind almost completely evaporated. A fierce wave of anger surged within you. You simply unbuckled your seatbelt, pushed the door open and got out of the car. You screamed at the top of your lungs, Lucy Lancaster. What the hell is wrong with you? Do you know that a car crash could kill 3 people? If that impact was strong, if anything happened to Sophia, you simply couldn't imagine it. Sophia was already standing behind you without you even realizing. She reassuringly grabbed your hand. Chloe practically collapsed onto the ground. Despite her image, Lucy dragged her heavy legs over. Seeing you and Sophia holding hands, she felt somewhat helpless, but also a bit angry. I'm begging you to. Can you please stop showing affection in front of Sister Lucy? She's harder to handle than a pig during the Lunar New Year. Indeed, the very next second, Lucy's gaze swept across your and Sophia's faces. Finally, it landed right on your clasped hands. Like a shot chicken, she flew into a rage. Sophia Smith, let go of him! Sophia looked at the irrationally behaving Lucy in front of her. CEO Lucy's, I'm holding my husband's hand. As an outsider, I don't think I need your permission. The word husband hit Lucy's weak spot perfectly. Her eyes turned red, like a demon crawling out of hell. It was a complete departure from her previous cold female CEO image. Your husband? He is clearly my fiancé. How could he be your husband? 2 luxury cars, arguing in the middle of a crowded downtown street, attracted plenty of curious onlookers, causing a traffic jam. You didn't want to be treated like a performing monkey. Even though face was a small matter, you cared about the Miller family's reputation and the Smith family's reputation. So you looked at Lucy standing before you. You closed your eyes. Opening your mouth, you said, Lucy Lancaster. Considering all those years of clear blue skies, there are some things I didn't want to say because they're too harsh. But you also need some self-awareness. Do you remember the first time you met Assistant Sam? Legend has it that Lucy went to Shanghai for Ethan. The helpless feeling of not being able to return from the engagement party, and the frustration of being stood up countless times in the past. There was a hint of anger in your voice. Our relationship, from the moment you abandoned me for Ethan, it was completely severed. Like it was delisted from the Shanghai Stock Exchange. If you have even a shred of shame left, let's part peacefully. After speaking, you squeezed Sophia's hand tightly. Coldly, you added, besides, Sophia is the person I'm engaged to, my legally wedded wife, recognized by law. I hope when you see her in the future you will show some respect. Lucy stood there. Hearing your words, her entire body trembled. I told you, Ethan cut his wrists. Human life is incredibly important. Why can't you be more sympathetic toward me? You suddenly found it a bit funny. He cut his wrists? Does he not have a father or a mother? Worst comes to worst, his brother is the third wheel, right? It's not your turn, it's an outsider's turn. I canceled the engagement to see him. You rarely said such hurtful things, but you were genuinely enraged by the sheer audacity of Lucy and Ethan. Are you a doctor or a nurse? If he really wants to kill himself, by the time you rush all the way from Beijing, his lilies will be cold. A guy who cut his wrists to commit unalive himself. Going to work earlier than you still have time to choose. Maybe we got to the hospital too late. Have the wounds completely healed? Did Lucy not understand these things? She couldn't grasp it the first time, twice, 3 times, countless times. Did you not understand? Lucy heard your accusations, undeniable, but she still didn't feel comfortable. And you? You and Sophia got engaged, got married? Did you ever tell me your official girlfriend? You gave a dry, oh. Lucy Lancaster. When you appointed Ethan as your personal secretary, did you ask for my opinion? Buying him a house, buying a car. Did you ask me when you transferred the money? You shook your head with a stern face. No. Even the fact that you weren't attending the engagement party. They only told me after you'd already boarded the plane, so I changed my fiancé. Why should I have to tell you? The fact that you got engaged to Sophia was not a secret. Even if Lucy cared about your situation even a tiny bit that day, she wouldn't just be finding out about it now. So, who are you trying to impress with your deep feelings? With every word you spoke, Lucy's shoulders slumped a little more. Mason, you weren't like this before. You were speechless. What was I like before? Always putting Lucy first in everything. Therefore Lucy treated you like forging a sword. Ethan bullied you, plotted against you. Now you've finally realized it. Once again she stood on the moral high ground, accusing you of changing. You suddenly felt that everything you said was a total waste of breath. Lucy's arrogance prevented her from understanding what anyone else was saying. You lost all hope of getting through to her. So you pulled out your phone and called the cops. Hello, police station. I want to report an incident. You sued Lucy for intentional attempted murder. By the time you walked out of the police station, it was dark. Usually, taking a statement shouldn't take this long. But the Smith family heard that you and Sophia almost got into a car crash. Grandpa and Grandma Smith were the fastest. The police quickly arrived and demanded severe punishment. At the entrance of the police station, you stood next to Sophia. The whole group of millions was there. You said, Mom, Grandma, I'm sorry everyone. If it weren't for me, today's events wouldn't have happened, and the family would be at peace. Seeing your pitiful expression, Grandma Smith immediately grabbed your hand. What are you talking about? It's all her fault. It's not your fault. As she spoke, she glared at Sophia next to her. She has thick skin and a strong constitution. Bumping into her wouldn't hurt. Besides, did they accidentally bump into each other? Grandma Smith nodded repeatedly. The culprit is inside. Silly child, stop arguing. Thinking of Lucy, Mom Smith's meticulously drawn eyebrows raised slightly. But no one was injured. They didn't even crash the cars. It'll probably be very difficult to convict her. She's expected to be bailed out by tomorrow at the latest. Grandma Smith retorted. You don't say. I should have let her bump lightly into Sophia. Convicting her would be absolutely justified. It would also give Mason a chance to vent his anger. These words made your pupils dilate slightly. You shook your head continuously. No need. Sophia hid behind you. Grandma, do you still want your granddaughter? She's waited so many years. I just got a husband. I don't want to die young. Grandpa Smith glared at her. I want to invite you to stay at the old house for a few days. Thinking about how you just went through a scare and weren't opening up, he added. Therefore it is said. Your grandma and mom went back first. You should come visit grandma at the old house in a few days. You replied immediately. Okay. After watching the car leave, Sophia turned to look at you. I'll take you back. You nodded. On the way, you braced yourself several times before speaking. Today's events were too obvious. Sorry. Sophia gripped the steering wheel tightly. Her deep eyes stared straight ahead. No need to apologize. It wasn't your fault. She paused. Seriously. And you can't make me forgive her. Choosing to call the police directly. I'm very happy. Actually, the moment the car was forced to stop, Sophia was furious. Not because she almost got hit by a car, but because you were still inside. Lucy's impulsive, reckless behavior compromised your physical safety. After getting off the bus, Sophia was ready to confront Lucy. But this time you, who were usually so soft-hearted, left without hesitation, standing in front of her, without hesitation. That kind of protection, the feeling of being understood by others, is wonderful. Do you think your behavior is normal? Lucy's behavior, in some aspects, is intentional attempted murder. We can't ignore this just because no one was hurt or killed. Let her go this time. What if next time it's worse? The law cannot tolerate the son. And you had already suffered enough from the moral blackmail regarding Lucy and Ethan. I will never do the same thing to her. You snapped your fingers, thinking back on the thoughtless things you said when you were angry. Don't you think what I said was? Sophia stopped the car. Looking at you intently from the side, she said, There's a saying in Taoism, go with the flow, follow your heart. If they don't provoke you first, why would you scold them? You were stunned. That sounded a bit absurd. The car stopped at a red light. She glanced at you, a sudden worry rising in her heart. Arriving at the apartment building, she led you upstairs. After opening the door, you asked her, Do you want to come in and sit? She leaned lazily against the door. I finally rejected your invitation. Just as the door was about to close, Sophia arrived. I whispered your name. You opened the door, looking at her in confusion. She hesitated for a moment before saying, Can you not stay here? But this house isn't a rental, I bought it. She dropped her lazy demeanor, whispering, But I don't want you living here. You paused for a moment, quickly understanding her concerns. Lucy was considered a dangerous person by her. She didn't want you to continue living here. And you were also afraid of Lucy. Deciding to move out but having no suitable place yet, You can stay at my place. She looked at you, her voice calm, your image reflecting in her dark pupils. I have many rooms there. You can stay in a room like last night. I won't disturb your private space. You agreed to her proposal almost without hesitation. Sophia immediately made a decision. Can we move tomorrow? I'll arrange for people to come help you tomorrow. You agreed, thinking that Lucy might be bailed out. Moving early could help avoid running into each other. After seeing Sophia off, she left. You started organizing important items, preparing unused clothes for donation, and contacting a real estate agent to list the house for sale. You had no intention of continuing to live there. After finishing this task, only then did you muster the courage to open Weibo and check. You saw that Sophia's videos had been taken down from the internet, and you breathed a sigh of relief. Sophia temporarily suspended live broadcasting due to personal reasons and sent millions in red envelopes to fans. This sparked a heated debate among fans. At this time, there were also witnesses sharing their experiences. Attached were a few pictures. This attracted significant attention. The scene was chaotic, the distance was quite far, and the photo was very blurry. Fans expressed sympathy for the temporary suspension of the live broadcast and cared about your health. Sophia replied to 2 messages. He said he was fine and thanked everyone for their concern. This problem was easily solved. Millions in red envelopes were distributed, successfully diverting the netizens' attention. You were the center of the event, yet completely invisible. Regarding Lucy, you had a clear conscience. The only thing you worried about was that the event would. This won't affect the Miller family and the Smith family. As for how people on the internet judged, you changed your mind and got married at the last minute before the engagement. You were prepared to be called greedy and heartless. You didn't expect Sophia to have already quietly taken care of it for you. The next day, Sophia brought people to help you move. These nannies were temporarily transferred from the old house. They were extremely happy because they heard you were going to live with Sophia. The nannies entered the room and we communicated the things to pay attention to. Starting to pack, you gave everyone a bottle of a refreshing drink. Then, he took an important item and went first. The rest would be organized and sent directly. Sophia led the way. You stayed by her side, helping her open the door and press the elevator button. The 2 of you had a clear division of labor. The Bentley that Sophia usually drove was parked downstairs. After putting the suitcase in the trunk, you took turns getting on the bus. Just as the car drove out of the residential gate, you watched the gate fade into the distance. Finally, you felt the reality of moving out and living with Sophia. This feeling was a bit strange, making you want to share it with someone. So you picked up your phone and bothered Wyatt. Bro, I'm moving in with Sophia. As soon as the message was sent, her ears turned red first. At this moment, Sophia was holding the steering wheel with one hand. She took out a bottle of water and handed it to you. Do you want some water? You were staring at your phone. Hearing those words, your hand trembled in fear. You quickly turned off your phone and drank the water. Sensing her gaze, you coughed lightly. Stopping at a red light, Sophia tilted her head and looked at you leisurely. Have you heard this saying? You looked up at her with clear eyes, she said. People are often very busy when they feel awkward. You were speechless. Thank you so much. Everything needs to be explained. Drinking your beverage, you asked about the people in the Smith family, specifically, the preferences of Mom Smith and the grandparents. Thinking about how much they cared for you, Sophia said, Mom loves beauty. You can buy skincare products. Grandma likes reading novels, collecting anime merchandise, mobile phones, and car models. Giving a plush doll is a good choice. On the other side, Lucy was detained at the police station overnight, bailed out by Assistant Sam. In just one night, she seemed to have become a completely different person. She looked as haggard as a puppet. Chloe noticed this contrast, unable to reply immediately. After leaving the police station, she was genuinely afraid that Lucy was still looking for you. I already offended Sophia yesterday. Contacting you now will only make things worse. This is the deadline for the Lewis family. No more mistakes are allowed. Fortunately, Lucy seemed to still remember the company. There was a massive mess to clean up. No more noise. On the way back to the company, Assistant Sam drove without saying a word. Lucy sat motionless in the back seat like a wooden statue. Just as she passed the Lancaster Company gates, she overheard the receptionist chatting about it. Did you hear? Mason and the Smith family have formed a marriage alliance. Ridiculous. I also know why CEO Lucy didn't come to the company today. Yesterday she went to CEO Smith and Director Mason to demand an explanation. Consequently, she was taken to the police station. The company management is discussing firing her. Chloe's head was filled with thoughts of being dismissed. She was truly worried that Lucy might be fired again. It could cause a splash. She didn't dare look at Lucy's face. Fan Ran looked at Assistant Sam, hoping to find some comfort. Assistant Sam noticed a glimmer of hope in Chloe's eyes, nodding helplessly. Mr. Lancaster doesn't only have Lucy. There are other children. For example, Felix. Actually, he values the latter more. Even though Lucy relied on the Miller family, she had gained a certain status with resources. But this incident made Lucy's position increasingly precarious year by year. Assistant Sam sighed helplessly. She could only say that she brought this upon herself. Seeing Chloe's pale face, Lucy's heart was extremely heavy. She walked helplessly towards the elevator. A few receptionists immediately recognized Lucy. Their faces turned white, standing quietly to the side. The moment she entered the elevator, Lucy looked at her reflection in the mirror, expressionless, but inside a storm was raging. Finally reaching the president's office, Lucy went straight in and closed the door. Keep all your emotions inside, Chloe said to Assistant Sam. Sister Lucy is very angry. Being clueless isn't a solution. Assistant Sam glared at her coldly. Rhetorical question. So what do you want? Chloe just chuckled. Or, let's go in and try to persuade them. But Assistant Sam also rolled his eyes. Why don't you go? Chloe touched her nose helplessly. He accidentally bumped shoulders with her. Mason and Sophia are married, but does the Lewis family still have a chance to turn things around? Assistant Sam replied. Does it exist or not? The only solution is a marriage alliance. Although Chloe had heard of this method, she thought it was unreliable. Because she understood Lucy's temperament well, this problem couldn't be solved by marriage, so they got to work. Lucy's existence was almost forgotten, until she received a call from Lu. When Chloe arrived, she saw Lucy and two tycoons fighting. Bottles were scattered on the ground. It was obvious she had drunk too much. Chloe angrily asked the superiors why they treated her like this, but the other side only offered sarcastic remarks. They said they weren't seeking a loan. Conversely, it was she who was begging them. In their eyes, Lucy was no longer the aloof CEO she once was. Faced with their ridicule, Chloe could only help Lucy leave, but a gloomy and helpless feeling also invaded her heart. Lucy, in a daze, was helped out of the Gichun Tower. She vomited violently as soon as she stepped out the door. A sea of fiery red before her eyes, Chloe rushed forward, horrified to discover that her drink contained a large amount of... Chloe's mind went blank. It felt like a buzzing bell hit her head. Emitting continuous hissing sounds, her mind was completely blank. The hand reaching out to help Lucy was trembling. Her voice shook. Sister Lucy, don't scare me. In the hospital corridor, she looked through the small glass window on the door. Seeing Lucy lying on the hospital bed with a pale face, her heartbeat finally stabilized. The hospital's preliminary diagnosis was, the goods were delivered very quickly, not life-threatening. Lucy always had stomach problems. You used to take care of her before. They didn't need to worry about it at all. Even when she had an attack before, she only ate a little. Things that soothed the stomach and relieved pain were fine. This was the first time she had vomited. She took out her phone. The numbers were found. I just remembered you're already married. I start work at 8 a.m. She quietly put the phone down. Slowly sliding down the wall, she felt a bit sad. The earth and you. She had known Lucy since she was very young, not just growing up together. She was also a friend who had been through a lot. The difference is, at that time, both you and she were orphans. But Lucy wasn't. The Lancaster family refused to take her back. Grandpa Lancaster also never went to see her. However, the Lancaster family still sent someone every month to deliver some food, clothes, and snacks. Compared to the other children in the orphanage, Lucy's living conditions were much better. At first she followed Lucy, actually for the clothes and food. Later, spending a long time together, Lucy's image gradually emerged and became a part of her heart. My most important sister and family. She thought the three of you would never be separated in this lifetime. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Sister Lucy's stomach. She was so ashamed she didn't dare call you. But she couldn't help but think. More than 10 years of feeling cold, how could she let go of everything all at once? She didn't believe it. You will completely forget Lucy, even though she firmly took Sister Lucy to the police station yesterday. But looking at it from another angle, you find it's no longer appropriate. Dedicating it to Sister Lucy? Wasn't this a form of protection? You actively took responsibility. Not only did it give the Smith family an explanation, it also eased the Smith family's anger. Compared to solving everything peacefully back then, it was different. Later, the Smith family took revenge on them. What was a night at the police station like? The more she thought about it, the more you feel you are right, the more right you are. You must still have feelings for Sister Lucy, because you care so much about Sister Lucy. I know Sister Lucy has stomach pain and was hospitalized. I wouldn't even know how to get there in such a hurry. Maybe this is the best time for you and Sister Lucy to make up. Later, she took out her phone again, looking for your green bubbles, editing the message and hitting send. In the Smith garden, you spent the whole afternoon. Finally, you unpacked all your belongings from the boxes. Standing up, looking at the familiar layout, you let out a comfortable sigh. This layout definitely created a cozier atmosphere. Through the pear wood window frame, you saw the sky outside gradually darkening. The garden lights in the courtyard were turned on one by one. The lights in Sophia's room and the study next door were turned off. It seemed no one was here. You walked toward the kitchen, phone in hand. Actually, as soon as you got close, you could smell the aroma of food. Seeing Sophia's back busy in the kitchen with an apron over her shoulder, you couldn't resist secretly taking a picture with your phone. I only found out when I reviewed the photos. Last time I was here, I originally planned to post those photos on my WeChat moments. Then I forgot about the live broadcast. And last time you also took a picture of Sophia's back when she was cooking. After comparing the photos taken this time with the previous ones, you realized you liked both. However, because the previous photo was taken from a closer distance, you could see Sophia's delicate profile. Therefore, it was successfully selected. After making the selection, you found those 3 photos weren't looking great. Right at that moment, Sophia walked out of the kitchen carrying food. You quickly put down your phone to answer. She handed you the garlic, stir-fried bok choy, just warm enough to hold. Your gaze rested on her handsome face. When did it come out? Why didn't you call me? Did you get bored waiting? You put down the dishes. No, I just finished getting ready and stepped out. Then you asked, why didn't you call me to help you cook? Your cooking skills are actually pretty good. And Initially, you were at Sophia's house. She was also asked to cook. You were a little embarrassed. Sophia put down the food in her hands, taking out bowls and chopsticks. Casual tone. I've always loved cooking. I feel very relaxed every time I cook. You coming to my house. I'm not here to babysit. You blinked. So, for that reason, she took on the cooking in the kitchen. This world is getting increasingly fantastical. Sophia arranged the tableware. Looking up and seeing you still in a daze, she tilted her head and called you. Come and do me a favor. You walked over, feeling dizzy and disoriented. Sophia was turning her back to you. Please untie my apron strings. You stretched out your fingertips, gently pulling the black ribbon. One pull, the tape came off. You took a small sip, expressionless. I think I accidentally tied 3 knots, so I asked you to help me untie them. Why was the problem solved so easily? Sophia took the opportunity to take off her apron. She turned around and asked you like she was coaxing a child. Okay, do you feel like you're involved in this project? When you realized what she said, it was a bit funny. You're not a child. Before dinner, you intentionally took another photo. Garlic bok choy, stir-fried shrimp, sweet and sour pork ribs and pork rib soup stewed with corn. Everything looked incredibly appetizing. You hadn't even added a filter yet. Together with the 3 pictures you just selected, they formed a 4-grid layout. Editing the ad copy, prizes and Mrs. Smith's home-cooked meals. You just posted it on WeChat Moments, and immediately people liked and commented. Wyatt, okay, he's not answering my messages, just browsing WeChat Moments to torture himself. You scumbag neglecting your friends. After replying to Wyatt, you just logged out to check your messages. Just as you were about to tap Wyatt's profile picture, your phone vibrated. A new notification popped up. This message was sent by Chloe. You haven't even read what was sent? The phone vibrated again. Received a photo. You hesitated for 2 seconds, still clicking on Chloe's WeChat. Sister Lucy had to be hospitalized because of a stomach problem. Can you come visit her? In the photo. In the empty hospital room, Lucy's face was as pale as paper, lying on the hospital bed with an IV drip in her arm. You grew up with her since childhood. It was impossible to say that you completely didn't care. Even if you couldn't be lovers, you certainly didn't want her to suffer so much, but you had suffered consequences of a lack of boundaries. I don't want to cause any more pain to Sophia. Lucy clearly still didn't believe it, but you knew that nothing could happen between the 2 of you anymore. Therefore, you would never give her another ray of hope. So you moved your fingers, replying, isn't she already in the hospital? If you feel unwell, go see a doctor. Then you decided to quit the chat. Glancing quickly at the messages sent by Wyatt, famous just as you imagined, that's the kind of thing that might be discovered later. The level of criminal record acceptable to society. At this moment, you noticed Sophia knocking over the bowl of pork rib soup. You replied to a message, go shopping with me tomorrow. I will tell you again. After dinner, after you and Sophia put the dishes in the dishwasher together, Sophia looked up and asked if you wanted to eat fruit. I didn't know what you liked to eat. I bought some grapes, berries, and blueberries. You quickly replied, yes, you've already finished cooking the meal. Sophia, don't snatch the fruit washing job from me. Sophia raised an eyebrow and smiled. I will take half a step back to make room for you. You felt amused by her, stepping forward and opening the refrigerator, seeing the food neatly arranged inside. Ah, this was a godsend for someone with OCD like you. But a box of multivitamin soy milk stood out the most. Your aunt's voice. Take that bottle of soy milk. This is my high school cafeteria. The brand we're partnering with, right? When Sophia saw you pick up the bottle of milk, a look of surprise flashed in her eyes. But after hearing what you said, the light in her eyes quickly faded. She forced a smile. Do you remember this kind of milk? You nodded. Of course I remember. I loved drinking it in high school. Sophia gave a soft, you seemed a bit curious. This type of milk was discontinued when I was in college. How did she get there? She smiled faintly. The company was acquired. This product is currently no longer sold to the public. You were holding the carton of soy milk in your hand. Looking back at Sophia, I always feel like she's about to lose it. What do you think? This bottle of soy milk must be very important to her. Apologize immediately. Sorry, I just picked it up to look because I was a little surprised. I hope you don't mind. At this moment, you felt like a drop of lemon juice had just been squeezed into your heart, sour and full of gas. It turned out that Sophia also had someone she cherished. Seeing her eyes cast down, her face full of disappointment, you felt guilty. You racked your brains. You only managed to utter one sentence. Sorry, it's my fault for touching your things. To show my sincerity, from now on, I will take care of all your milk getting. You peeked at her face, thinking that even if that box of milk was truly unusual, but you only just touched it, I didn't drink it, she wouldn't be that petty, right? When you were overthinking, Sophia suddenly chuckled. The mist in her eyes dissipated, sparkling with pieces of brilliant light. Actually, I was just checking if this bottle of milk has passed its expiration date. Can I still drink it? She leaned against the refrigerator, lazily opening her eyes to look at you, eyes with a smile. But since you've already said so, let's make a pinky promise. You saw her pinky finger slightly curled and waving in front of you. You squinted at her suspiciously. Why did you do that just now? She made an O sound. Ask again. What? You remembered what she looked like a little dog abandoned by its owner. In short, everything comes down to telling the truth and making promises. You chose the hook. You resignedly held out your pinky finger. her knuckles resting on the groove. The heat from her body made your hand tremble slightly. A harsh speech, but turning away. Childish. Sophia didn't think it was a childish act at all. She appeared reverent, as if participating in some important ceremony. A clear and gentle voice, very serious. We've dragged it across the ditch. You will have to take care of my milk for the rest of my life. Her words gently touched your heart. Yeah. For a lifetime, you softly agreed. Meanwhile, in the hospital corridor, Chloe curled up in the corner, completely disregarding her image. I see your notification bar showing typing, she secretly hoped. But, after she saw your reply, the smile on her face froze. Every word you said exuded. Lucy is despicable for abandoning you for Ethan. Chloe held the phone. With absolute clarity, it's truly impossible for you and Lucy to be together. After reflecting, she quietly deleted your chat history, so that Lucy can see it someday. Chloe lost control again. Chloe didn't know what she was doing. When she was in a daze, she passed out, but she was woken up by a series of calls from Assistant Sam. The call connected. On the other end was Assistant Sam's shrill voice. The company has encountered a huge problem. Where are you and CEO Lucy? Before she could answer, Assistant Sam demanded they return to the company immediately. Chloe hurriedly said they were at the hospital. Sister Lucy drank that stuff and got a stomachache. She's still unconscious. After a brief silence, Assistant Sam asked for the hospital's address. While waiting for Assistant Sam to arrive at the hospital, Chloe opened Weibo. Indeed, she saw bad news about the Lancaster family. The content revealed that the Lancasters were suspected of selling defective goods under the guise of high-quality products. The amount involved was $800 million. The Lewis family might file a lawsuit. The Lancaster PR department issued a statement. The accusation was made by a newly hired warehouse manager, but the comments section was filled with criticism. No one believed such a large company would blame new employees. Chloe grew increasingly anxious as she scrolled through Weibo. The announcement issued by the company's public relations department was urgent and hasty. Without Lucy's word, who had the authority to issue a statement without permission? Opening the company group chat, the usually bustling group was unusually silent. No one spoke. This indicated the severity of the problem. Last time Lucy and you had a conflict, most people in the group were just watching the show. Now they were all silent. Chloe sensed something was wrong. Sitting on the hospital bed, she rubbed her messy head. Assistant Sam arrived faster than expected. She almost ran into the ward. Is CEO Lucy awake? Just as Chloe was about to answer that she hadn't woken up yet, seeing Lucy on the other side, I don't know when I opened my eyes. I regret it. Lucy regretted it. Lucy's dark eyes stared at the ceiling, like a lifeless doll with nothing. Chloe boldly swayed in front of her, confirming that she could still blink. Assistant Sam glanced at Lucy. He turned his head and looked at Chloe, asking, "What's with this weather?" Chloe blinked. She tremblingly moved her lips, humming a little tune. Assistant Sam frowned deeply. He said coldly to Lucy, CEO Lucy, the Lewis family refuses to give us any grace period. The incident of the Lancaster family selling defective goods has now become a hot topic of discussion. Lucy lay motionless on the table. Assistant Sam added, all the shareholders have arrived at the company. I'm waiting for you in the CEO's office and demanding an explanation. Can't you wake up? Hearing this, Chloe's eyelids twitched continuously, winking at Assistant Sam, but she pretended not to see it. On normal days, Lucy might favor Ethan, so let it be. I can lose my temper with you if I want. She didn't say anything, but now was not the time to indulge her nonsense. Between Sophia and Lucy, you would definitely choose Sophia, even though she was Lucy's person. But it must be said, Sophia was more reliable than Lucy. Assistant Sam let out a long sigh. I'm so tired, giving up. CEO Lucy. Mason got married, lost to Sophia. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The word Mason seemed to allude to. That triggered a certain shift in Lucy's mind. Finally, she turned around and looked at her. I see. Assistant Sam and Chloe exchanged a glance. I don't understand what she knows. Lucy stared at them with a blank expression. A new light returned to her lifeless eyes. That day on the street, when he asked me, I shouldn't have defended Ethan. Her voice was soft. Shia. Obviously, Harua was in a state of extreme emotional turmoil. I shouldn't have used Ethan. Lucy muttered to herself. I should apologize to him and admit my mistake. I was wrong to keep Ethan by my side. I'm also at fault for missing the engagement party because of Ethan. I should apologize. While talking, she started crying. Chloe couldn't stand it anymore. Give me a glass of warm water. Drink some water first. But Lucy pushed Chloe away. She abruptly stood up. I'm going to find Mason. Let's go explain it to him. She thinks you're just trying to piss him off. She deliberately chose Sophia, whom she hates the most. That must be it, she muttered to herself as she rushed out. Self-deception. Assistant Sam snatched the water cup from Chloe's hand. Splashing water on Lucy's face, he asked coldly, Are you awake? If you don't wake up, there's still water in the kettle. If all else fails, there's plenty in the water pipes in the stairwell. Enough. If I couldn't wake her up, she will no longer have the surname Lancaster. Assistant Sam was always the calmest of the three. Chloe saw she was really angry. They even dared to raise their hands against Lucy. I couldn't help but swallow my saliva, she exclaimed in her heart. Ruthless. She's a ruthless person. For a moment it was hard to tell who was in charge. Who were the employees? Lucy was stunned by the cold water pouring over her. Assistant Sam saw her stunned, attacking immediately. What's the point of you looking for Mason now? She looked Lucy up and down. Her eyes showed clear contempt. Lucy, do you want to buy a mirror? Take a good look at yourself right now. Go find a guy like this. Besides acting as a control group for Sophia, he was also mentioned here. This proves that choosing Mason was correct. Is there any other way? Lucy heard these words, clenching her fists, letting the drops of water slide down her forehead, without a sound. But the anger inside had reached its limit. Chloe stood aside, afraid, thinking about what if a fight broke out later. Who should I choose? Ultimately, based on their good relationship, they decided to keep Assistant Sam, to save Sister Lucy from suffering losses. However, she also secretly hoped that Assistant Sam's scolding could wake Lucy up, because Sister Lucy has only been causing trouble lately. Do you remember when you hit Sophia with your car? She held her thighs tightly with both hands. I almost lost control of my fists. Suddenly, Assistant Sam leaned close to Lucy and said sarcastically, "Yo, you still want to hit me? Come, shoot right here. When you punch me, then I'll have a reason to go to Sophia. Not only will I not blame you, but I will also thank you. Give me a bright future." Everyone in the company knows he will resign. Chloe immediately stepped forward and pulled Assistant Sam away, trying to persuade weakly. Mentioning these things makes me sad. But Assistant Sam sneered, "Sad sunshine. Look at her terrible state now. We also need to restore Mason. If you continue to live so recklessly, Ethan is going to run away." She was extremely anxious. I wish I could split myself into 8 pieces in a minute. I also have to act as a psychological consultant here. She couldn't help but curse inwardly. Who is all this for? Lucy heard these words. Anger and helplessness intertwined within her. The veins on her arms bulged. However, when she thought she was about to lose control, suddenly like a balloon pierced by a needle, she completely hid all her sharp thorns. She raised her hand and wiped her face. The mist in her eyes dissipated, restoring clarity, a dry but soothing noise. "Don't deliberately provoke me. I won't hit you." Because she understood, I've suffered enough losses due to impulsiveness. We must stop acting impulsively. We must not let down the people around us. She thought that you and Sophia had known each other for many years. Before that, there had never been any interaction between them. Now we've suddenly become close, definitely to piss her off. Moreover, in the entertainment industry, everyone thought Sophia liked women. Those previous actions were definitely meant just for her. She felt anxious. She had fallen into Sophia's trap. So she made a decision. The most important thing right now is to stabilize the Lancaster family. After clarifying her thought process, Lucy wiped her face, kept her back straight, and walked toward the door. "First, tell me about the situation on the Lancaster side." Assistant Sam immediately got into work mode. After the Lewis family announced the news, many partners who paid deposits are demanding refunds. The sales department's phones have been ringing off the hook. Lucy and Assistant Sam discussed the company's situation. Going further, Chloe stood in the hospital room. She stared at the horizon, lost in thought about what had just happened. How could it happen in the blink of an eye? I feel like I've become redundant. At the same time, you also noticed the trending search term Lancaster crisis. Compared to the Lancaster family's crisis, you will focus more on the numbers later. 100 million. You felt a little warm inside. Thinking about how resilient Uncle Lewis had been, I didn't tell you anything at all. However, the Lancaster trouble started right from the day of her engagement. What if I actually got engaged to Lucy that day? Uncle Lewis, how long do you have to suffer for yourself? Thinking about this, your eyes started to burn. An indescribable feeling of gratitude and guilt surged in your heart. I decided to call Uncle Lewis to apologize, and he insisted that this issue didn't affect his company. I finally felt somewhat relieved. Then you went into the kitchen and saw the dining table. Inside was a thermal box and a sticky note. There was also a black card. "I'm going to work. The food is in the thermal box. That card contains the salary I submitted. I know you're going out with friends. I'll pay for everything today." After reading the words on the sticky note, you felt that Sophia was now fully in your heart. The rising loneliness was suddenly filled. Enjoying the meal, you took out your phone and sent your location to Wyatt, and you attached a photo of the black card. "Idiot! Come pick me up! I'll steal a kiss from my wife and let you have some fun." Not long after, Wyatt replied to the message. "Ah, Godfather, wait! We'll be right there to pick you up." At the entrance of Goo Garden, a shiny red Ferrari screeched to a halt right in front of the gate. The car window rolled down. Wyatt's handsome face was revealed. He took off his sunglasses, squinting at the Smith family's courtyard house. "So rich, you opened the car door and got in. Buckle up." Just then, Wyatt turned his head to look again. "Tell me the truth. Are there any sisters in her family who are of marriageable age? Do you think I'm qualified to join the Smith family? You looked quite helpless. Temporary proposal. Or I can keep an eye out for you later," Wyatt shouted. He looked you up and down with a lecherous gaze. "Let's get down to business. Who suggested living together? Yeah, did you do it? Is it top tier?" A suspicious blush appeared on the tips of your ears. You unnaturally looked away, avoiding Wyatt's sharp, X-ray-like gaze. "Why can't you be serious for once? I just moved in. There is absolutely nothing between me and Sophia," you argued. Wyatt's gaze swept over your face and your whole body. Confused tone. "That's impossible. You're so shameless." She wanted a handsome guy with a fit body by her side. She didn't react. Either you're indifferent, or she really likes women. He took off his sunglasses. He rested his chin on the frame and thought for a moment, suddenly turning to ask you, "That morning, what if you managed to get up there?" You blushed as he bombarded you with a series of questions. You looked like a shrimp just scooped out of a pot of boiling water. I wish I could reach out and cover his mouth. You looked around guiltily, channeling a low whisper. Can you please not overthink this? I'm totally not sharing a room with her. What? Wyatt shouted loudly as if he'd just heard a joke. You already got the marriage certificate. Living together or living apart? Is the Qing dynasty still around? You finally couldn't hold back anymore. You covered up, whispered accusation. Please keep your voice down. Is this something to be proud of? Wyatt nodded wordlessly, tapping your finger lightly on the back of your hand. That means you should let go. You breathed a sigh of relief. Let go. Wyatt couldn't help but complain. Are you a teenage mutant ninja turtle? I've never been attracted to someone as beautiful as Sophia. You should know that during college countless Duran family members dreamed of drinking her bathwater. People like that will marry you. Are you still unmoved by her charm? It's legal, man. Are you really not tempted at all? You don't know. I just know that if we continue this topic, you guys really need to understand each other better. Fasten your seatbelt. He cleared his throat. Do you still want to spend money? Wyatt waved his hand helplessly. Knowing there was no reason to continue, you would get extremely angry. He immediately changed the subject. Talk. Why did you suddenly decide to come looking for me, you bastard? You smiled. I'm no longer unemployed now, am I? I finally have some free time. Of course I want to spend more time with you. Wyatt started the car, eyes staring straight ahead. Speak human language. Grandma Smith always wants us to visit the old house. I can't show up empty-handed. I want to ask you for some advice, you explained. Wyatt had a look on his face as if he knew you were in trouble, only remembering him later. You immediately pulled out the black card Sophia had given you. I won't let you waste your time with me for nothing. All purchases today. Mrs. Smith footed the bill. You were saying you're not a stupid man who couldn't bear to waste a woman's money. Sophia is willing to give. You can spend freely. This is how delivery guys feel like they've done a good job, and she is your legally wedded wife. She has the right to spend money. Wyatt smiled and said, all purchases today. Mrs. Smith footed the bill. You smiled and raised your hand to slap him. Are you asking for a beating? Wyatt shook his head repeatedly. I wouldn't dare. Sophia said buying some skincare products and a plush doll was fine, but you felt that was too flimsy. Then, you led Wyatt to the jewelry store to give him. Mrs. Smith chose a jade pacifier. I chose a high-quality pearl necklace for Mrs. Smith. You also felt that Sophia was always the one taking care of you. I never gave her anything. Then you chose a pair of diamond earrings. After finishing the long shopping trip, it was almost time for lunch. You and Wyatt were about to go eat barbecue. The phone rang. This was news about Sophia. Sophia, it's almost time to get off work. I wonder if I might have the honor of treating a certain Mr. Mason. The gentleman had lunch with friends. Your mind went blank for a moment. A question mark was returned. She replied almost immediately. I remember back in college there was dating. I need to treat the other person's roommates to a meal. This could be seen as confirming one's status. So we got the marriage certificate. Mr. Mason, could you give me the chance to establish an official relationship? What do you think? This custom actually exists, but turning to look at Wyatt, you were really afraid that what shocking things he would say in front of Sophia. Wyatt posted photos of his new clothes on Weibo. Seeing you staring at him, a confused expression. Do I have something on my face? You handed the phone to him. See for yourself. He glanced at it twice. Let her do it. I'll test her attitude for you. You sent your location. Sophia arrived very quickly. You loaded the shopping items into the car. Then, head to the reserved barbecue restaurant. The person had just sat down. You saw her walking this way through the glass. There are always some people like that. Just standing there, she is already the main character. From the moment she appeared, everything around her seemed to become a backdrop. Your eyes followed her. Seeing that she could see both of them, you turned your gaze to Wyatt, warning him. Wyatt, you use hand gestures to seal it. Eyes flashed with a hint of cunning. The wind chimes at the restaurant door jingled merrily. As soon as Sophia pushed the glass door and walked in, she entered. The whole restaurant seemed to brighten by 3 points. It was lunchtime. Many diners turned to look at her, then their gaze fixed. You had already noticed a few guys blushing furiously. Sophia smiled politely at the people around her. She walked straight towards you and Wyatt. She sat down intimately next to you. Introduce myself. Hello, I'm Sophia, Mason's wife. Wyatt, who had just been joking, now responded calmly and politely. Hello, Wyatt, Mason's good friend. The waiter came to ask if everyone was present. Do we need to order? Sophia nodded. Grab 2 menus. I'll give one to you first. Then she handed another one to Wyatt. You must be familiar with this place. I'll eat whatever you say. Wyatt was very satisfied with Sophia's sensibility and understanding. Lucy used to be very fond of herself. They mocked hot pot restaurants and barbecue restaurants, never mentioned going out to eat together. They all showed disdain when they heard the store's name. He deliberately didn't change restaurants, just to see if Sophia would end up like Lucy. He couldn't stand her lifestyle like smoke. Fortunately, so far she seems to be doing quite well. The store is very crowded. Your food hasn't been brought out for a long time. Sophia went to get hot water. You glanced at the busy waiters. A bit helpless. I'll go persuade them. Wyatt nodded. Sophia returned and saw you weren't there. They proactively scalded your dishes. Then, she poured dishwashing liquid for Wyatt. Wang Teng turned off his phone, evaluating Sophia, talking. You really wanted to see me. What do you want to ask? Sophia's gaze swept across the crowd. You were responsible for communicating with the receptionist. Straight to the point. What do you think? What are my chances of success in pursuing him? You really have intentions for him, Wyatt raised his eyebrows. On the day of the engagement he could tell that Sophia had feelings for you. She is really very patient. They already got the marriage certificate. Are you still naive enough to think she likes women? Sophia poured you a cup of boiling water and let it cool. Casual tone. This is not called having ulterior motives. This is called a gentleman. Beautiful women are very charming. Wyatt stared at her, actively pursuing. The success rate is 0. You can't pursue it too aggressively. To attract, let him pursue you. Sophia quietly repeated in her heart. Attract. Think carefully. You approached and asked with a smile on your face. What are you guys talking about? Wang Teng smiled while holding his phone. Complaining about the slow service. You explained. The receptionist said there are a lot of people today. It's coming right up. Wang Teng is a talkative and very sociable person. Never a dull moment. Sophia has a high IQ, broad knowledge. It can connect to anything. The meal was very delicious and relaxing. Your worries about Wyatt's exaggerated claims completely fell flat. However, in Wyatt's heart he felt that Sophia grilled meat and served vegetables for you throughout the meal, handing over drinks and tissues. His teeth almost ached. I feel like a mobile extra. After dinner, when Sophia went to get the car, Wyatt crossed his arms. Cold tone. This person is quite special. Don't play games that will cause permanent damage. The 10 years fearing the well-roped mentality. Go if you feel it's necessary. You also think Sophia is quite good? She is a very good partner, gentle, considerate, and also makes money. But you didn't like Wyatt's pretentious look, you said with a smile. None of your ex-girlfriend relationships lasted more than 3 months. Are you sure you can judge people accurately? Wyatt laughed exaggeratedly. Sunglasses covered most of his face. Leave me alone, I have my own rhythm. His car was quite close by. After taking out the items you bought, Sophia happened to drop by. Wyatt stuck his head out and shouted loudly, I entrust him to you. Sophia nodded. Be careful in traffic. She put the belongings in the trunk, got on the bus with you. You fastened your seatbelt, asked her. Are you not going to work this afternoon? I feel you have a lot of free time. Isn't Yao Guang doing very well? Sophia smiled. Mr. Mason, did you forget that we just got married? The marriage leave policy applies. You realized it too late, that's true. The situation became a bit awkward. You realized this road didn't seem to be the way home. Where are we going? Going back to the old house. Grandma has been looking forward to this for days. My phone will ring constantly if I don't go back soon. You tapped your fingers on the keyboard longingly. Too sudden. Sophia's gaze fell on you. A smile appeared in her eyes. We've met a few times already. Still nervous? Or, I won't go today. She made a move to turn back. You quickly spoke up to stop her. No need. Today is quite good. Actually, I'm not very nervous. Grandma has been waiting for a long time. You didn't want to disappoint the elders. The car stopped at the gate of the Smith family's old house. The maid waiting at the door opened the door to welcome the car when she saw the license plate. Someone quickly ran in to announce the news. Sophia got out of the car first. After taking the gift out of the trunk, walked to the side after getting off the bus. You ran your fingers through your bangs. Made yourself look more mature. You were as handsome as the audience watching on the screen, but not the traditional handsome type. Simply put, it's the groomsman type. When you were with Lucy, Madame Lancaster mocked you quite a lot, both publicly and privately. That's when you found out she wasn't Lucy's biological mother. Bad relationship. So you never cared. But Sophia's family is very kind. You also want to perform better. Win the approval of the Smith family. Inside the door, old Madam Smith rushed out. Mother Smith chased after him in high heels. Mom, slow down, watch your step. Old Madam was eagerly preparing to welcome her son-in-law. She didn't pay attention to her daughter-in-law behind her. As we approached the door, she suddenly remembered what her granddaughter told her before the engagement. Emergency brake. His straight back arched 3/10 of an inch. It shows signs of illness. Mother Smith almost bumped into her. He said with surprise. Mom, old Madam waved her hand. She helped her walk towards the door. You could whisper. Remember, I am in poor health. Don't leak personal information. Shen Laotai always acts quickly. Mother Smith instinctively agreed. The two of them were delayed. You have already walked through the door. Although we had met a few times before, I know that both Madam and Mother Smith are very approachable, but when you actually step through the gate of the Smith family's old house, you still can't control your anxiety. You held Sophia's hand and squeezed it gently. Old Madam and Mother Smith came out to greet them. You obediently responded. Grandma. Then he turned to look at Mother Smith. The word mom stuck in my throat a few times before I finally managed to utter it. Mom. You asked if the elders felt any psychological burden calling you mom. Calling someone you've only met a few times mom, you were still a little reserved. I felt a little shy after shouting. Old Madam Smith has always liked you. I heard you call me grandma. Immediately let go of her daughter-in-law's hand, pulled you away from Sophia and towards herself. Grandma's looking forward to it, longing for the moon. We've been waiting for you to come. She glared at Sophia. That brat. Bringing Muj back without warning us. She was asked to leave quickly in casual clothes, not formal at all. What if my son-in-law misunderstands and thinks the Smith family doesn't value him? Let's see if she interrupts this kid's shaving. Sophia smiled indifferently. He accepted all of his grandmother's scolding without hesitation. Yes, 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 it's all my fault. Old Madam was satisfied with her granddaughter's husband. I'll take you inside immediately. Youwei tricked you into coming home, not saying a word. She didn't bully you in the past few days of the wedding, did she? Old Madam observed your face. He squeezed the soft flesh on your hand again, frowning. Grandma thinks you've lost weight. Youwei really doesn't know how to take care of others. I will cook for you later. I will replenish it for you. You touched your face. Chubby, have you lost weight? Sophia's cooking is quite good. You've been eating about half a bowl more than usual lately. How did I lose weight? Mercy. Old Madam didn't give you a chance to explain for Sophia. I pulled you towards the backyard behind. Sophia was holding boxes of gifts big and small, looked at his mother. Have I fallen out of favor? Mother Smith casually brushed her off with a few words. You can't go in. It is absolutely correct not to go in. We will welcome your uncles and aunts here. I'll go in first. She was rushing back to see her son-in-law. Sophia watched her mother's departing figure. A look of confusion flashed across his face. The maid stepped forward and took the gift box from her hand. Why don't you go in first? We will stay here and guard it. Sophia waved her hand. Just put the things in. Don't worry about me. The crowd dispersed. Sophia stood alone at the door, contemplating the meaning of the word attract. Attract. How is attraction created? She opened her phone and searched for the meaning of the word attract, recognizing the force exerted by objects or other people. Focus your attention on yourself. She found the green bubble, opened Penny's chat interface and asked her how to attract others. Penny spends all day online like a spider, replied to messages very quickly. Sophia said your account was hacked. Penny replied, who do you want to attract? Do you know that you are now a married woman? You are putting your sister in a difficult position. Sophia couldn't stand it anymore. Do you want to? Penny felt a chill even just looking through the screen. Let's start immediately, my god. Have you ever heard of a certain term commonly seen online? Phishing. Simply put, it is knowing yourself and your opponent, then taking advantage of the opportunity to surpass them. She felt that communicating through the screen was not enough. They called directly to prepare a direct tutorial for Sophia. Arrived home. Old Madam and her mother were on both sides. They sat on either side of you like guardians. You sat in the middle, your hands placed neatly in front of you. This posture is more standard than that of a kindergarten student. Old Madam signaled for the servant to bring the tray, opened the exquisite leather box. Inside was a complete set of dark blue diamond jewelry, cufflinks, tie clip and watch. Seeing this, you continuously refused. Sophia couldn't accept this from her grandmother. Old Madam patted your hand gently. This is not anything precious, silly. She handed over a document. Youwei's grandfather passed away when he was young. This is a gift prepared in advance for her son-in-law. Your eyes widened in surprise. My fingertips trembled slightly when taking the document. Shares of the Smith family. Old Madam smiled brightly. Grandpa has already signed and stamped this document. It will take effect immediately after you write your name. Then they handed you a pen and asked you to write quickly. Your uncles and aunts will come back later and you will receive red envelopes. Mother Smith gently persuaded. Mason, we are a family. Receiving this gift is what you deserve. You don't need to feel burdened. At that moment, the pastoral song moved you to tears, and you finally picked up the pen and wrote. Mother Smith took out a sapphire necklace. Match these with the cufflinks Youwei prepared for you. Sophia and her family members entered one by one. They were all wearing custom-tailored suits and had the cold, domineering look of a CEO. Fortunately, they were introduced by Sophia. You greeted everyone warmly. I accumulated a lot of red envelopes. Old Madam mentioned this. Muge, you still don't have our contact information, do you? She took out her phone and the others began to make a fuss. Old Madam immediately ordered a stop. Sophia added Mason to the group chat so they could discuss everything there. Then I will tell you. Our Smith family is a bit small. If anyone dares to bully you, just say it straight out. Let a few uncles and elders stand up to defend you. After the elders had finished giving gifts, then Sophia took out the prepared gifts and distributed them to everyone. It was clearly stated that you were the one who chose it. Old Madam especially liked the set of dolls. You finally breathed a sigh of relief. Old Madam cooked the meal herself. Take some time to walk around the tea room next to the main hall. On the wall hung a family photo of the Smith family. You saw a picture of Sophia when she was a child. Extremely cute. I found an old photo album on the bookshelf, documenting the life of the Smith family. When you turned to Sophia's section, suddenly Sophia reached out and grabbed your hand. A familiar aura enveloped him, preventing him from looking out. You smiled as you pinched a corner of the photo album. Me and Sophia exchanged a few silent glances for a moment. Sophia smiled helplessly. While blindfolding Sophia, they took the photo album away. Her voice was soft but tense. She still couldn't see it. Then hid the photo album on the top shelf, out of Sophia's reach. You regained your freedom and looked at her with annoyance. Like an angry pufferfish. Sophia rubbed your head. Let's go, it's almost time for lunch. In the living room, Madam Smith invited them to sit in the banquet room. Seeing them come out, you still smiled while adjusting your messy hair. He immediately agreed to let her stay overnight. Old Madam immediately smiled brightly and pulled you into the room. Taking advantage of that opportunity, Mother Smith asked Sophia, you, Mason, and that Lancaster kid too. What really happened? She organized her language. Do you remember the fight in high school involving Sophia? He helped Sophia. Then I briefly recounted and said, but Mason doesn't know this at all. Mother Smith interrupted the family members when they found out about the incident. So what if she fell in love with a bad guy? Doesn't matter. Mother Smith stood up and went out. Sophia wondered where you went. Call someone to ask them to send clothes. Mason, do you have any clothes at home? Sophia looked at her mother's departing figure and snorted softly. My phone vibrated right at that moment. Penny's message to Sophia 50. I will reveal a big surprise to you, she replied indifferently. Penny complained but couldn't hold back. Liu's orders suffered heavy losses due to the large number of returns. The shareholders want to demand an explanation from Liu Ruyan. Sophia calmly replied, is that so? Penny sighed, wondering if this was the right attitude towards an unlucky enemy. Let's get excited together. Sophia understood Penny's meaning, but Lucy's acting would affect your view of her. If Sophia impersonated Lucy, that would make you pity her and push her further away. Sophia specifically instructed Penny, just watch the show, don't interfere. On the other hand, Lucy had rushed to the company from the hospital. His face was expressionless. He chewed his food raw as if he had lost his sense of taste. In the underground parking lot, she put away those documents, her face regaining its composure, as if the madness before had never happened, stepped into the president's private elevator. When the door opened, several shareholders who had been waiting in the conference room entered. One of the shareholders sneered, if the upper beam is bent, the lower beam will also be bent. Why didn't you come after the company closed? Chloe spoke up to defend Lucy. Yesterday our general manager, Liu, said so. The shareholder sneered, do you even have the right to speak here? Chloe's face flushed red from being scolded and she fell silent. Lucy invited the shareholders into her office. Let's go inside and talk. Ethan, who had just sat down in a gray suit, rushed in crying and complaining. Sister Lucy, save me, I was arrested. Ethan quietly recounted the things that frustrated him. You promised me before. As long as my sister confessed to the stolen goods, everything would be fine. As a result, the company's legal department sued me. If I am convicted, my life will be ruined. Ethan, who was sobbing uncontrollably, didn't notice anything unusual. On the faces of the shareholders and Lucy, they all showed concern. Assistant Sam, holding a tray, almost smashed it down. Ethan completely ignored the shareholders. Lucy coldly told him to get out. Ethan heard this. Tears streamed down his face as his eyes widened, tried to approach Lucy. A shareholder stopped him. It was fine. To act in a tragic love story delved deep into the film crew. The atmosphere was so tense that the shareholders also joined the fun. An illegitimate daughter is still an illegitimate daughter and cannot make the matter public. Just because of an ordinary man, the young master of the Miller family was married to Duan Ting. The shareholders' mockery escalated. Lucy had a cold expression. Don't you understand human language? I told you to get out. Ethan's face turned pale. He realized he had made a serious mistake. Trembling, I'm sorry, Sister Lucy, I'm very sorry. Lucy stood there with an expressionless face. He looked completely emotionless. After a moment of silence in the room, she slowly began to speak. You should leave now. Pack your things and leave. I don't want to see you anywhere again. Ethan staggered and stared at her in disbelief. Sister Lucy, I know I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. Lucy watched him try to grab her sleeve, suppressing her anger. She had to use almost all of her childhood upbringing to restrain herself. I wanted to slap his face. Let's go. I can keep the things I gave you before. I will ask Assistant Sam to transfer the house and car to you. Ethan bowed his head, remembering all the good things she had done for me over the years. Even if I sell it, I can still live a carefree life. But not wanting to give up, he tried to hold back a few more tears. Sister Lucy, I simply like you. I don't care what you give me. I can live without anything. Don't chase me away. However, those words did not move her at all. Lucy said coldly, since you don't care, return the car and house before leaving. After speaking, she stopped looking at Ethan. She directly ordered Assistant Sam to escort him out. Give him 3 days to move. Ethan looked in shock as Assistant Sam dragged him out of the building. The office fell silent again. Lucy went alone to the small kitchen. All the kitchen utensils were arranged neatly, but he was gone. She poured herself a drink and downed it. He thought he would be happy to know Ethan was gone. The Smith family's old house. Sophia had taken old Madam Smith away separately. The pocket money given by the family had been taken out of the room. After asking the maid, I went upstairs. The room was unlocked, so Sophia pushed the door open and entered. The large room and dark-toned decor made her feel confused, but when she saw the skincare products and gift boxes on the dressing table, I breathed a sigh of relief, realizing I hadn't entered the wrong room. Hearing the soft sound of running water, Sophia turned to look at the bathroom door and asked timidly, "Who?" Your deep voice echoed through the sound of running water. "I'll be done soon." The sound made Sophia nervously grip her phone. "Take your time washing your face, no need to rush." Sophia turned off the shower and prepared to put on a tank top, but I still remembered Penny's advice. Then, he hid his shirt and changed into a bathrobe. Sophia was still wondering about having only one picture. How could the two of them? Suddenly the bathroom door opened. You only wore a bathrobe loosely. Drops of water rolled down your neck. A pleasant scent drifted over. Sophia lost her focus and her left foot missed a step. His body collapsed to the ground. The moment the feeling of weightlessness hit, Sophia closed her eyes, her delicate eyebrows slightly furrowed. At the critical moment, you grabbed Sophia's arm. raise her up. But because the two of you were separated by a certain distance, Sophia still couldn't stop moving her feet slightly. Hiss. A sharp pain caused Sophia to cry out in pain, sweat breaking out on her forehead. Keep Sophia calm. You used a clever trick to make her put most of her body weight on you. Look down at Sophia's foot. Definitely my fault. Sophia was held in your arms, her whole body dangled on his body, tensing muscles in a panic. When the pain subsided, only then did I realize my cheek was pressed against his bare chest. The first thing you see is a large expanse of skin. A corner of the bathrobe even revealed bright red blood. Her voice was almost inaudible. It's not my fault, it's because of my own carelessness. Feeling guilty, I didn't even know where to step. You bent down and carefully picked Sophia up. Sophia hurriedly climbed onto your neck. My fingertips touched your warm skin. Only then did I realize my actions were inappropriate. He hesitated and wanted to withdraw his hand. At this moment you whispered, "Don't move." Sophia gently curled her fingertips but ultimately did not let go. You carried Sophia and placed her on the sofa. After taking the cushion core and placing it in the right place, he bent down to examine the wound on Sophia's foot. Her slender fair ankle was slightly swollen. "I'm fine, just slightly twisted," Sophia said shyly. You bent down and examined closely. "Although not serious, you should still be careful. Let me press it down and apply some oil for you." You bent down and knelt in front of Sophia. The bathrobe was loose and had been pulled open by Sophia, revealing large areas of skin with a smooth texture. "Sophia, look at your firm abs." Her cheeks flushed and her voice trembled. "Why don't you go change your clothes first? You seem to understand something." "I will go change my clothes." You took out a set of clothes, closed the door, then turned around and said, "I need to change my clothes." Sophia turned her head and sat down obediently. "I promise not to peek." You slightly lifted the corner of your hand and untied the bathrobe belt. "To avoid seeing things that I shouldn't see." Sophia simply closed her eyes. In the quiet room, when sight is blocked, hearing is amplified infinitely. The soft sounds of changing clothes made Sophia's heart beat faster. Her cheeks became even redder. "Come here after you finish changing." Seeing Sophia with her eyes closed, Julian felt uneasy. He gently flicked his finger against her ear. "Princess, open your eyes." Sophia's eyelashes fluttered slightly. I opened my eyes and met his black eyes. You had changed into a silk business uniform. Classic style but still flattering. Did Sophia find something more alluring than a bathrobe? Sophia tried to look away. I didn't dare to flirt with them anymore, fearing it would backfire. You squatted down again. "Let me press your acupoints. If it hurts, you should speak up." Sophia gently nodded. Your slender fingers grasped Sophia's ankle, took off the high heels and gently massaged the swollen ankle. "Make it less painful." Sophia couldn't endure the dull pain, she whispered. "So this is it." Madam Smith stood there, her face dazed at the door. The hand knocking on the door suddenly stopped in mid-air. She secretly rejoiced that she hadn't asked anyone to bring her clothes up. Muttering to herself, "This child is still young but already causing trouble." Madam Smith entered the room. "You explained that Sophia sprained her ankle. Then I went downstairs to get oil to apply for her. Mother noticed her ankle was swollen. Come here quickly, I'll tell you. Please send someone to bring Sophia's clothes up here. When you go downstairs to get things, tell her to sit down and ask her affectionately, 'How did it get injured?'" She coughed lightly. "It's because of my carelessness, don't worry." When you returned with the oil, 5 or 6 female sales staff also brought loads of clothes. Rolls of clothes were put to use. Madam Smith wanted to personally apply ointment for Sophia. She refused many times. You took off the cap of the oil pan. "Let me do it." The series of movements took place smoothly and without hesitation. "After finishing the job, go wash your hands." Mother Smith secretly instructed you. "Youwei doesn't know how to take care of others, so you should ask her to work more often." You blushed and said she had already taken very good care of me. After changing into the costumes, the models performed. She picked out a few outfits before escorting the person out of the room. After a moment of silence, her heart softened somewhat. He has a kind of courage, like, what's the point? You saw the work clothes nearby and felt scared again. Sophia was still changing clothes. Sophia understood your thoughts and proactively suggested, "Mason, go to the bathroom to take shelter first. I'll call you when I'm done changing. Do you remember there's a bathroom in the room? So why don't you go into the bathroom to change?" Sophia replied that she had just forgotten. She has a habit of not sleeping without taking a bath. I decided to wipe it with a towel. You prepared hot water and a stool in the bathroom beforehand. Take her to the bathroom. This time, she acted much more naturally. Suddenly, melodious music played outside, drowning out the sound of running water. A warm feeling surged in her heart when she heard the music. I was extremely surprised by his thoughtfulness. You poured yourself a glass of water, careful not to make too much noise. Just as I sat down, Yu Ming's phone rang. This voice was sent by Penny, supplemental number. The relationship between Lucy and the shareholders had broken down. When the accident happened, Lucy's face turned pale. Sophia was not surprised to hear this news. Instead, "I thought of the complaints she had for you because of Ethan." Sophia asked Penny where Ethan was. She answered honestly. Ethan begged for his sister. He was fired after unexpectedly encountering Lucy in a meeting with shareholders. Sure enough, the bathroom door opened right at that moment. She changed into a Z-shaped silk long dress, stood near the door holding onto the door frame. Her fair pink skin was even more prominent when paired with the color of the dress. The steam rising from her body created a faint pink halo. Seeing Sophia wanting to approach herself, you quickly stepped forward. Be careful not to slip and fall while wearing wet shoes. While talking, they quickly approached her, stopped her, and tried to pick her up. The warm body temperature was transmitted through the clothes. Sophia could feel the firm muscles under your clothes. My heart beat fast and my face flushed red. Seeing your red ears made me feel inexplicably good. This time you take her straight to the first floor. She tried to soften her voice and reduce the tension. There is only one picture here. She glanced at the width of the first chair. It was indeed wide enough for 2 people. But I'm afraid I will accidentally offend you. You whispered reassuringly that everything was fine. I can sleep temporarily on the sofa. After saying that, he helped her tidy up one of the beds. He picked up the blanket and pillow and walked towards the sofa. She felt conflicted witnessing your actions. You wrapped yourself in a blanket, curled up on the sofa, feeling uncomfortable having someone else around. But soon Z woke up the next morning and found it was already light. Sophia looked towards the sofa. He was no longer here, only the neatly folded blanket and pillow remained. Obviously it had started. Sophia checked her phone and saw it wasn't late, just a little after 7. The first time sleeping in at my old house didn't seem to go very smoothly. I felt my ankle much better after putting on slippers. The bathroom door opened. You stepped forward, dressed very neatly. You're up so early. Is your foot injury better? Sophia probed and found that she was much better. Let's see if Sophia took a few steps to confirm it. You should go to the bathroom and change your clothes first. I will go down first. Sophia nodded. Okay, I'll be right down. Foaming cleanser and toothpaste were ready in the bathroom. Sophia picked up the pink toothbrush and rinsed her mouth in front of the mirror. Only then did I realize a corner of my hair was standing up without me knowing. On the other side, Lucy's plan was carried out smoothly. She waited for Ethan to fall into the trap, step by step. Sophia stood by the window. Deep in thought, her phone rang with a call from Yu Ming. Right at this moment, Penny sent a message. Ethan was kicked out of Liu's garage and all vehicles were confiscated. Relying on selling jewelry and gems to be able to stay in a hotel, my heart pounded. Sophia instructed Penny to continue keeping an eye on Ethan. Ethan looked at the lawyer with a depressed expression. The emotions upon leaving the company were very complex. Because my sister's case is particularly difficult, he approached every law firm he could find, but no one dared to take this case. He stood there helplessly watching the flow of people passing by on the street. The phone rang. It was my mother calling. Why haven't you answered the phone for so long? Mother's shrill voice rang out. The signal in the elevator is very poor. Where is your sister? Why haven't you answered my phone for 2 days? In a completely cold conversation, he had no choice but to lie that his sister was busy with work. When the topic of giving the child to the mother was brought up, Ethan's eyes welled up with tears, trying to suppress his emotions. Only you know the truth when hanging up the phone. The balance is only a few $100,000. He was horrified to realize that all prospects were collapsing. Where can things go after he passes away? The phone rang again from a strange number. He started another plot. Shaoxiang Mansion Restaurant is a famous private restaurant in Beijing. Today the entrance is unusually noisy. Lucy was helped by Chloe, his face flushed red like a radish, leaning against a pillar and retching continuously. A few staff members stood in line ready to assist at any time. The lobby manager asked Chloe with concern, "Or should we prepare a room for President Liu to sober up?" Chloe had to struggle to support Lucy, who had an ugly face. "No need, I already called someone to pick her up. The product will be delivered soon." She took out a bottle of water to rinse Lucy's mouth. He told the others to disperse first, to get the loan contract. This time Lucy drank even more. Chloe looked at her current appearance. My heart ached. From the past until now, has Sister Lucy ever been so aggressive in front of others? When Assistant Sam got out of the car with the driver, he arrived. Chloe was drenched in sweat from exhaustion. However, when Assistant Sam and the driver took over Lucy's case, the incident continued. She still endured the aching pain in her arm and rinsed Lucy's mouth. The icy cold liquid ran down her throat and Lucy disappeared. His scattered gaze finally refocused. When Chloe breathed a sigh of relief, the lobby manager's noise started again. This time it seems a bit more appealing. "Mr. Shen and Mr. Wang, please walk carefully and watch your step." The warm lights at the dark entrance were turned on. Sophia and Wyatt stepped out of the hall one after another. With a gentle and appropriate smile on his face, Wyatt's tone couldn't hide his excitement. "Mr. Shen, please rest assured, we are very honored that you are willing to cooperate with us." Sophia shook hands with a smile still on her face. "Mr. Wang, no need to be modest. Your brother and my husband have a very good relationship. Raising a son like that, I believe in the vision and capability of the Wang family." Hearing the 2 words from President Shen, Chloe turned her head to look. The incandescent light in the hall created a layer of light and shadow surrounding Sophia. Chloe recognized Sophia just by her voice. He was afraid that Lucy would hear the sounds coming from behind. She urged Assistant Sam and the driver to quickly take everyone away. However, it was too late. Lucy turned her head to look when she heard Sophia's voice. The moment I saw Sophia, a burst of strength erupted from her body. Assistant Sam and the driver rushed towards Sophia, but she was so drunk she couldn't move an inch. He only took 2 steps before losing his balance and falling to the ground. Chloe quickly stepped forward and pulled her away. The push was so strong that he almost knelt on the ground. Fortunately, Lucy was not too badly injured. Sophia and Wyatt noticed the commotion. Sophia raised her hand, signaling the assistant to step back. A cold look swept over Lucy, lying on the ground. Then he bid farewell to Wyatt. This was even more difficult than Lucy's attitude. She ignored the scratches on her knees and palms. He threw the contract aside and glared at Sophia angrily. "Sophia Smith, you opportunist!" She hadn't finished her sentence. Assistant Sam used a towel to cover it. Chloe and the driver were startled, quickly subduing Lucy. "Get everyone in the car as quickly as possible." Assistant Sam picked up the documents scattered on the ground. He smiled apologetically before getting on the bus. Lucy, sitting in the back seat, was still making a fuss. Chloe completely could not control her. As soon as she saw Assistant Sam enter, he immediately begged someone to help hold him back. Observing how Assistant Sam skillfully tied Lucy's hands behind her back, it was tied with nylon string and even tied a very delicate bow, Chloe sighed helplessly. "Do you remember she is your direct supervisor?" Assistant Sam calmly organized the contracts. How could she know she was drunk? Chloe looked helplessly at the tied-up Lucy and sighed. Suddenly, a handsome young man appeared at the entrance of the residential area from a distance. Chloe looked closely to see if it was Ethan. Assistant Sam looked over and saw it was him. "I guess they came here to meet General Manager Liu. She understands Ethan much better than Chloe. I know he is not feeling well." Ethan recognized the car and waved his hand in that direction. Chloe snorted coldly and ignored him. "Drive straight there." The wind from the passing car blew Ethan's hair. He stared blankly at the disappearing license plate. The wolf stood still, reviewing the past with Lucy. He even refused the favorable terms Lucy offered for the house, but they didn't even give him a chance to meet. Wyatt watched Sophia's car leave. He raised his hand and rubbed his stiff face, but still smiled backwards. He couldn't stop smiling while holding the new contract in his hand. "We tried many ways, but still couldn't contact the Smith family. Surprisingly, the most useful connections were right next to us." Wyatt remembered the rock sugar bird's nest that Sophia had packed and sighed. "Mason, you are so lucky." After getting in the car, Sophia put away the food box. "Assistant Xavier, if you glance at President Shen through the rearview mirror, aren't you angry?" Sophia gently stroked her soft long hair. He unbuttoned his shirt collar. He lazily said, "What are you angry about?" "I should feel happy," I chuckled softly. "If it weren't for Lucy's lack of ambition, perhaps the one going crazy right now would be her." In Lucy's eyes, her downfall was a resounding victory. Seeing her having a hard time talking, Sophia was extremely happy. Sophia raised her hand and glanced at the watch. "A little faster. The program Mason has been moved to today. This is the latest I've come home. I wonder if he feels anxious." "Then look at your phone, it's still silent," she chuckled. "Probably not." Assistant Xavier gripped the steering wheel tightly, looking at the crowded road ahead. Since getting engaged to young Master Mason, the workaholic CEO Shen, who used to work tirelessly, is no longer in office. Now it's President Shen's turn, a husband who loves his wife deeply but doesn't take his work seriously. The notification sound of a message is particularly noticeable in the quiet cabin. A familiar cat image is displayed on the screen, immersed in the night, eyes shining with tears from slender fingertips. Swipe to unlock the phone screen and view your message. "Are you busy today?" Sophia smiled softly. "I just signed the contract. We are on our way back. I didn't expect you to reply so quickly." "Okay, I'll wait for you." Sophia looked down at the words "waiting for you." A sweet feeling surged in her heart. In the Smith garden, you held the phone in your hand, feeling a bit regretful. "I shouldn't have asked if I knew she was on her way back." Tonight is the first night they officially live together. How eagerly you wanted to persuade her to come back. Especially, she also prepared a gift.